Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and BIGS and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan "Start 'em young" to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and BIGS. Save some money and gear up now.
Hey, I want to get this out there now. Best place to get coffee in the Midwest? Casey's. He was 100% correct.
Alrighty, guys, here we are. It's Bobby Rosebeef for Jigs and Bigs. It's another Tuesday for you, and man, we have an amazing show to get to. A whole lot has happened. We've got some deep. We're doing some deep dives today. This is like the deep cranking sort of version of our show, and we're gonna go ahead and get right to it. Got a lot of explaining to do. Some updates on some upcoming stuff you're not gonna want to miss. Let's just get going. We'll see you guys in a bit. Right after this. Good morning, everybody. It's Bobby Rosebeef, and I got Sean the Fisherman with me. Man, we've both had it's been a journey this week, really, since we've kind of finished up with last week's show from the production on, and it's been kind of monumental. How are you this morning, Sean?
I've got two words: holy shit. Just holy shit. That's all I can say. This week has been a roller coaster in more ways than one for us, for people we know. Everybody involved. This has just been a crazy week since we last came on air.
Oh yeah, and there's actually we're going to start the show with some really good news. Before I mention that, I do want to say we have the Hookset Hoodlums OG. I need you guys to put a mental picture in your head right now of the VHS or DVD cover of the Goodfellas film. Okay, think about that, where you have basically the three main characters of that film together. That's essentially the equivalent of the guests we have on today. We have, not only do we have Bill making a return, we've got Wild Bill, but we also have Andrew Tomer on now, and then we have the elusive Ken. We've got Ken this is like the who's who of Hookset Hoodlums, like the OG super uber competitive dude. So we've got that coming up. Sean has amazing news that we want to get to right now. Like the feel-good story, I think, of the entire week that we've had so far. So take it away, man.
Yeah, this was actually breaking news. I think it's not even an hour old. Before we started recording, my social media was blowing up a little bit, and I want to really go back in time to this past weekend and tell everybody why it was blowing up and why we're so excited.
Yep.
Last week for Maniac Anglers, Jason Gardner carpooled with another member, Jason, and I'm going to fuck his name up, Breard, Breard, and they had a horrific mishap on the way up to the tournament. They got to a certain point and stopped the car and realized that one of the ratchet straps had broken, if not two of them, and Jason Breard's kayak was no longer with them, and they backtracked God knows how far, couldn't find it, didn't end up going to the tournament, called it a day, and then started really a social media campaign on one end to see if anybody had found this thing. And on the other end, Jason Gardner, obviously having driven, was completely heartbroken over this, that, his passenger's kayak was now gone. Mm-hmm. So Jason was reaching out to a lot of his resources to get some help and see what could be done and really honestly get the community involved. Because when you get the community involved, we all tend to look out for each other.
Yep.
I mean, word had reached you and I pretty immediately. It reached 3 Bells. We were all talking and what can we do? How can we help? Well, thankfully, nobody needs any help because this morning, due to the social media blitz that Jason Breard had put on up in Maine, someone had found his kayak and is returning it to him.
That's amazing news right there. That is crazy. Like that's the proof that social media and the fishing community is like a massive positive thing. I didn't realize that they had made a stop at some point, and only that they didn't realize that they had lost that boat. I had assumed like it went flying and they kind of knew where it was. So I was scratching my head. I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I can't imagine what they were going through.
I don't think they made it all the way to the tournament, is my understanding.
Yeah.
I thought they stopped, and that's a detail I'm cloudy on. But either way, whenever they stopped, the thing was gone. And this is really similar, in a way to when we interviewed Ken Wood and he spoke about his horrible accident in Kentucky Lake, and the next day, with all the pros involved, the kayak community had Ken a new kayak and gear just ready to rock.
Yeah. That's
whatever
awesome.
he needed. I think it was all gear, right? I don't think it was a new kayak. It was all
I think
gear.
so.
But either way, that's one of the reasons that I like being a director. I know that if one of our members were to come to me during a tournament and say, hey, dude, I had some horrible mishap and lost my shit.
Yep.
I'd be working the phones as soon as I possibly could. Or even if I call everybody together and say, hey, this guy had an accident, can we all donate him gear? Whatever needs to be done. And that's just the way everyone takes care of each other. And it's awesome. So, yeah.
That's awesome. We got a couple of our jig heads jumping in. We've got the one and only, our loaded potato. Andy, how you doing? Good morning, buddy. And then we got good old Teddy Forget jumping in. Teddy says, congrats on smashing the PB. Says I deserved every moment of that. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We'll get to that later. But it's like, this has been an amazing weekend for everybody. And it's awesome that I love that we can start the show with like a good note, because you got to think about that. Like if that boat had gone missing, and depending on where it had dropped, just may never have shown up. Like somebody else may have just been like, sweet, I got this amazing, and who knows if there's any kind of way to tie it, serial number or anything that's been, anything that can connect them to the original owner or anything. It's like, it's just one of those things. So I'm very, very happy for him. That's huge. Very, very huge.
That is absolutely awesome. So we have this week, we have a lot of news. And you and I talked about how we were going to present this news, and I'm going to go ahead and lead.
Go for it.
With my week. And then we're going to take I got a couple of planned tangents. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened to me this week.
Yep.
Then we're going to talk a little bit, or probably a lot bit, about what happened to you this week. So when we last talked with everyone, we were recording my afternoon that day. Last Monday we recorded. I was planning on meeting up with Eric Graves at a lake in Worcester.
Yep.
And that lake was there's got to be big fish in there, but the bite was really, really tight. I ended up catching one little smallmouth out of this place, and the 3 fish that I would have liked to have seen in my boat, I hooked into what appeared to be a large northern pike. That thing spit the hook. Not cut the line, spit the hook. So that was kind of weird. I also had what I believe was a large channel catfish come out from under a log and trail my lure, which was neat, but he didn't bite it. I would have liked to have that in the boat, especially since I need one for chronic trips. And then finally, I had a really big largemouth turn on a crankbait right at the boat, and he decided not to hit it. I mean, my mouth was open. I'm like, what just happened? And it was really, really shallow. I'm talking 2 to 3 feet of water where I was running a small square bill crankbait. And he didn't hit it. I need that fish for numerous things, and it just didn't happen. So Indian Lake was kind of a bust. It was awesome to finally get out and fish with Eric Graves, Gravy Fishing. So I'm sure I'll see him more in the future. Just, we had a bum day.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And I recorded with Eric pretty much that same evening, actually, after you guys got off the water. A little bit later on, I got to record with Eric. So we've got an interview with him coming up in the future as well. Good stuff.
The next day, I got home from fishing with Eric probably about 8:30 at night. Charged my batteries for my fish finder and went to bed. Woke up early. Had to be almost I had to be in the same area for, what time did we start? 6:30 in the morning. I had my MAKB first round knockout matchup against Steve O'Brien. Mm-hmm. And it started out bluebird sky days and everything was calm. And then the wind picked up. And when the wind picked up, there were some problems. So we fished a small chain of ponds. There was 3 or 4 ponds chained together, plus one that you could portage to across the road, which I did eventually try. We kept the boundaries as all of them. And if one of us wanted to waste our time crossing the road, we should go for it. Yeah. No big deal. About, I don't know, half an hour into the day, I ended up going under an underpass to one of the chained up lakes. And the underpass, I was laughing about it later. It was tight and there were spiders everywhere. The whole place. It was like the bug tunnel in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yeah. It was awful. So I got through that and I fished this other lake and I just kept catching fish and catching fish and catching fish. And not one of them was bigger than 13 inches. I said, okay, these little guys are here. I've got to move. So I filled up a limit, which was nice. I got up to whatever, 30 inches, which divided by 3 fish, you can tell that tells you where I'm at. 36 inches, I think I was at. I think I got 3 12 inches or a 13 and 11 and a 12, something like that. Yep. But I was pretty disgusted with myself. And I kept checking the scoreboard every now and again. And Steve wasn't putting up fish. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if he didn't have signal. I had no idea. And I just kept fishing. So by the end of the day, I had a numbers day. Very rare for me like this in Mass. I know one other pond I can hit a number day like this at or even come close. I caught 34 largemouth in 8 hours. Shit. I caught 4 rock bass with them, all using the same lure. Yep. And it was a Ned rigged creature bait because the conditions to me dictated some finesse stuff. I saw a couple fish in one area of the pond. Again, 2 degrees warmer, one little corner of a pond, and fish were piled up there. I saw 2 or 3 that probably went 15 inches, but I couldn't get them to bite. Yeah. And when I finally met up with Steve at 2:30, I said, hey, man, do you have network problems? Or, God forbid, are you sandbagging and just kind of dumping all your fish at the end, just kind of fire me under the bus? And he said, no. He said, I haven't caught a bass. He said, it's been all pickerel and crappie. I said, come on. He goes, how many you caught? And I had a kind of sheepish look on my face. I'm like, 34, but I haven't gotten anything big. Yeah. He was pissed. He was not pleased. He's like, how the fuck are you doing that? I said, just Ned rigging. That's all I'm throwing. And, I had the most shameful victory I think I've ever had. 38 inches divided by 3 fish to nothing. It was just that kind of day. That's crazy. But, I mean, that's sort of how it works. It's shit. Two anglers with the same conditions, Doesn't matter if one guy catches a 12-incher and the other guy doesn't catch anything. That's it. It just, I feel bad for Steve. It just, they wanted that kind of finesse, and whatever he was throwing, they weren't biting on it. It just sucked. And it took him a couple days to get back on social media. He took that loss a little sideways. And I can't blame him, man. That was just a shit day. Oh, definitely. So I'm on to the second round now to meet my maker, where I'm taking on Derek Brundle. Yeah. One of the best 10 anglers in the nation. So we're going to see how that goes. Although Derek was I'm sorry?
We'll see how it plays out, you know?
Yeah. Any given day, you never know what can happen. But Derek was wide open and said, let's work on the times because he's a busy guy. He's got tournaments all over the country, to be quite honest. And we set our time and date, and he said he did not care about the location, and he's down towards, I think, the Plymouth area, so down the South Shore area. Yep. And I'm obviously out west, so whenever that happens, I always suggest the old A1 site, which I love fishing at because I know it's just a factory for 17 and 18-inch fish for anybody who fishes there. So the matchups generally stay competitive, and Derek was all for it. So
that's great.
Let's see what happens. Yep. I'm gonna need not a good day. I'm gonna need a great day. Yeah, and he's gonna have a subpar day because that guy. The term hammer. We all use the term hammer. This guy's a hammer. That guy's a stick. That one too.
Yep.
He's a hammer on a stick. Yeah, that's how good he is. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting him, finally fishing against him, and see what happens.
That's awesome, dude. I'm excited for you. I think, no matter what, it's like, win or lose, it'll just see how you do, up against Derek Brundle. That's awesome.
That's what I do. I don't mind winning and losing. Yeah. I think a couple of years ago, he's really good friends apparently with Matt Conant, and they're just both.
Yep.
Hammers on sticks. They're both hammers on sticks.
Yeah.
And I think I faced off against Matt at A1 2 years ago and lost to him by an inch. So it doesn't say anything. It just says that A1's a good pond that'll spit fish out, and then who's going to have a better day? That's it.
That's all.
We'll see what happens.
That's exactly it. I love it, man. It'll be exciting. It'll be fun.
Yeah, exciting. My third adventure, I did this one twice, was to a small pond near me that is an offshoot of the Connecticut River. I found it. Well, I didn't find it. Got to give Cousin John credit. Yep. Cousin John sent me a picture of a relative on the other side of the family, which I actually think I mentioned in an earlier podcast, and he had a bowfin in hand. And I said, "Oh, where did you find that delicacy?"
Yeah.
And he told me and said, "Why don't you go hit it?" I did. I didn't get any bowfin, but this little tiny body of water that is no deeper than 3 feet had a bunch of 18-inch largemouth in it. So I caught those, which was nice. That ended my week in the monthly. We'll talk about that real quick. When I ended my week, the second week of fishing, I was in first place, and Hammers on Sticks and Ken Wood, another hammer on a stick, had not fished yet. They fished week 3. I'm now in fourth place behind those 3 guys because they just fucking killed it. They killed it. These guys, they kill it. They kill it. And they live on the South Shore, which is an added bonus because you've got a longer growing season down there. They're they're full-blown pre-spawn. And like I said, west of Worcester, there's a lot of places that I love to frequent that are still in the ice out stage. And it's just nature. Got to do what you got to do.
Definitely.
So I hung tight, and I'm in fourth place, and this thing ends in 2 days. We'll see if I stay in fourth place. I'm out of the money, but I hung.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So that little pond is nice. It's going to get weed choked in a month, but for now I can go, X amount of minutes away from my house and hook into some decent bass and with the chance of a bowfin. So I'm good with that.
I have seen a lot of bowfin pics on Instagram in the last handful of days. In fact, our good buddies over at the Bent podcast, Joe and Miles they had gone out doing some multi-species fishing, and Miles had gotten on his first bowfin ever, and it was a beaut. I'm still looking at getting on my first bowfin, and I've got a couple of spots around that I've got my eye on to try and get some. So we'll see what happens, but just amazing prehistoric animals, That's that cup you were talking about.
Did you hear it? It's pouring.
It is pouring.
Look at how hot this coffee is. There's steam coming off this.
Steam? That's the cup that you had given a little bit of a quick review to earlier, correct?
Yes. The brand is Zojirushi.
Dude, that is some crazy freaking bougie shit right there.
This thing's great. I don't like the
drinking from it is not ideal. You want to pour that.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a real fan of that thing. See, it's got that little. There you go. It's got that thing in it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, but I'll use it for a thermos. It's a badass thermos.
So I want to catch up on some of these comments before we start going any further beyond that day. We got an invite. By the way, we want to just say congratulations to Teddy Forget. Dreams really do come true. Teddy got his first bass boat. He's got a boat now, and we just got an invite to go fishing with him. So that's got to happen. We got to make that shit work. It's going to be good. So Teddy, ASAP. That's the answer to your question of when we're going to come fish on your boat as soon as freaking possible. Eric jumps in. Eric Graves jumps in, says, "Morning, guys." And then Roadkill Nick chimes in with the bowfin. He says, "Those bowfin get crazy green during their spawn." You know, I haven't ever noticed that.
I've only seen a male bowfin during. Well, it would be post-spawn in Minnesota at my in-laws' house. My in-laws have a little tiny beach that got carved out and, some beach sand put in there.
Yep.
And we saw one male bowfin guarding fry. And I actually took a GoPro video of it that I have. And it was cool. I don't remember how green it was.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever noticed. I've always kind of noticed they were a little like burnt orange kind of color generally, but they're just cool looking fish. And they look like their heads, they just look so like chill and docile, but when they open their mouth, you're like, "Oh, I'm going to lose a digit."
Yeah, and then they've got that flap underneath their chin that you would think is safe to grab like a pike, and
not at all.
It is not.
Yeah.
And I had a 5+ pound bowfin jumping around in my lap in Minnesota, and I had to paddle with him. Sucked. I didn't know. I went to grab him, like, motherfucker. Things flopping everywhere. So I just put him in the net, wrapped it up, and put him in the front of the boat.
And you don't keep fish grips, do you?
In Minnesota, I do.
Yeah,
for big pike.
Yeah. I would.
No, I can grab a pike or a big pickerel by the back of the
gill
of the
plate.
gills.
Yeah.
And actually, that one that I caught with Andy in the Chronic Trips last week.
Yep.
I was holding that one properly under the gill.
Yep.
By that, whatever you call it, their fucking Adam's apple, whatever.
Shit.
They're by their shit. That's what I grabbed it by shit.
Just grab them by their taint and hold on for dear life.
Yes. Now
let's keep going.
Yes, let's keep going. So I have a story that the world needs to hear. And
yes.
This is fucking great. There's going to be a shout out. There's going to be an injury. There's going to be insanity. There's going to be lessons learned. And it's going to feed into another story.
Yes, it is.
So what day was that? Saturday. It was Saturday, correct? Yeah, Saturday. Saturday I went out to a lake near Central Mass, kind of on the border between Central and Western Mass. I'm not going to name it because I don't want to. There is a small public access at this lake, and I went out to it, and I needed to cull out like a 17-inch fish. I needed 3/4 of an inch, or an 18-inch fish. I needed 3/4 of an inch to break 200 in Chronic Trips, and we do the prizes on the increments. And I knew there was big pickerel and some decent bass in this lake, so I went out there. And I got out there and let the wind take me, and I just followed the western shore and throwing a bass jig. And this place that day, I don't know if it was males getting ready to bed, but it was just a factory of 16 to 17-inch largemouth. So that tells me buck bass that are just getting ready to go. But I did hook into a 21+ inch pickerel, which put me over. Very happy.
Yeah.
Took the pictures, put that fish back in the water. Pause on tangent number 1 here. I then got a phone call. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Okay. Very important phone call from a man that was out of breath. Continued my fishing down the shore. Had a resident of the lake talk to me for a little bit about the kayak, and he might become part of the network very soon. I actually have to reach out to him on his podcast. It was kind of a neat conversation. Mm-hmm. I continued down, and there was a tunnel under a road, and it was a long tunnel. I'm talking really long, possibly 100 yards. This was a big tunnel, went under this road. And it was kind of narrow, but it was long. And I said, I'll go under there. I hear a waterfall. Maybe there's some fish at the end of the waterfall. The water was flowing at me, so it wasn't a waterfall. I wasn't going over a cliff.
You weren't going over something, yeah.
Yeah, it was coming down to me. I went through there, got about halfway through. It was dark. Then I realized the entire end of this tunnel was covered in chain link fence from water to ceiling. Oh. And I said, okay, I now have to pedal backwards out of this tunnel. I had my rods in my right hand under my right arm, like kind of cradled. And I just pedaled all the way back out. And by the time I got back out, my plan was to get to the other end there and take a leak because it looked very woodsy. And I had to go to the bathroom.
Suck.
I got back out and I just kind of looked around and just took a leak where I could conceal myself and not get in trouble. And just so anybody's aware.
So good.
So anybody's aware. In Massachusetts, I don't know about other states, but you should check your laws. In Massachusetts, if you expose yourself to take a leak and get caught and then really press the issue, that can be considered a sex crime. You got to be really careful if you're taking a leak in public. Okay. Just for everybody out there. That's, I learned some things at a previous job and was like, really, that's a sex crime. And it is. So that can be on your record if you're peeing in public and get caught.
Yep.
Anyways, I go ahead and I pee in public and I happily sit back down and I turn my kayak around and realize 30 feet from me with her back turned to me, there's a woman in a kayak. And I'm like, that's great. I just possibly exposed myself to someone. I was obviously peeing into some vegetation, but these are things that happen. Didn't even notice. There was a little bit of a bend in the water coming out of the tunnel, and she was on the other side of the corner. I didn't even see her. So I apologized, said hello, and she said, hey, wait a minute. Your kayak has a Massachusetts kayak bassing sticker on it. And I said, yes. She said, well, I'm a member. I'm like, oh, great. I said, well,
that's
I'm a director.
Awesome.
So her husband was fishing with her, and I met Wayne and Kathy Fairfax. They are very, very nice people. They're fishing the monthlies. They're considering getting into one of the trail stops, but they're fishing the monthlies for now so they can fish on their own time. Awesome conversation with them. I told them I'd bring them up on the air, give them a little shout out. So Kathy and Wayne, very nice to meet you. Sorry if you saw my wiener, and let's get fishing.
Oh God, that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
I got to tell you, when you called to give me that information, because that's the thing. That Saturday I had multiple phone calls back and forth. Chris Tabari, who was with me, got a good, healthy belly laugh out of that one. It's like, are you serious? I'm like, dude, this is the world we live in, man.
Yep. The rest of that day, I made my way back. I didn't catch any fish after that point. I made my way back against that shore again, and then when I got to the launch, there was a guy that was like kind of limping around and struggling, and I didn't know what was going on. And actually, the Fairfaxes had ended their day too. The wind picked up pretty big by 11 or whatever it was. And I heard a conversation going on, and I asked the guy what was going on, and he's limping around. He said he had a problem, sit-in kayak. I can't say he was wearing a life preserver or not. I don't know that because I didn't see when he was all packed up at that point. Could have been in his truck. But he went over. He went in, and when he stepped to get out, he stepped on some submerged chain link fence and put one of the points right through his foot, right through his heel. Yeah, there was a fence running into the water, and I don't know if he'd hooked a pickerel and couldn't deal with it. I thought I heard pike, but there's no pike in there, so he must have meant pickerel. And he's limping around. Wayne threw him a clean rag, so he was able to, kind of wipe up some of the blood and get the dirt off. He'd been bleeding for like 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, it was a big puncture.
Yeah.
So I said, how long you been bleeding? He goes, 15 minutes. I go, you're going to want to go see a doctor. And he said, my foot's starting to swell. And I said, and that didn't even stop the bleeding? He said, no. I said, you're going to want to see a doctor.
Yeah, 100%.
And he looked at me and he goes, really? I'm like, the fuck, am I kidding? Like, yes, go see a doctor. Like
it's not like this is a clean environment,
Yes. God knows what could be in your foot. Go see a doctor. Yeah. So in the meanwhile, when I got up on shore, again, people are going to laugh at this, but I always carry a pretty good first aid kit because I've hooked myself in shit and I've been stung by things. I know to carry a first aid kit so that if something happens, I can get myself safe, to safety and then go see a doctor if I need to. But I did have some bacitration. I have Band-Aids. I have all sorts of wrap, this, that, and the other thing. And I got him, the least I could do was I pulled up on shore, got my first aid kit out, prepared a couple bandages, and said, here, put this on your foot and get to a doctor.
Yeah.
And he took off. I don't know if you ever went to a doctor. I have no idea. But that puncture was fucking horrific. That was a bad puncture wound. So hopefully he's all right. Like I said, Wayne and I kind of tag team to get him some initial first aid. As the military says, first aid and buddy care. So he was our buddy and we took care of him, and that's that. So
it's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Now, I have two tangents I can veer off on right here. All right. I think I'm going to do that.
Because let's do it.
This phone call that I got is so important. I want to leave that till the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you educate our audience on the term we use for the Blandford rest stop?
Oh,
why we named it that?
Yes, absolutely. So when I mentioned this initially, this was just last summer, right? That we kind of
we did talk about
with that
this.
name, yeah. So there is the Blandford rest stop on the Mass Pike, out once you get toward into the Berkshires. I'll never forget this. The phone call I had with Sean. He says, "Yeah, why don't we meet at that rest stop? We were going out to fish the Shears, going up the Shears to do some early morning fishing at dawn, some topwater bites, like really looking to get there before first light." So we meet up there, and it's a great little stop because you can grab gas, you can grab something to throw in the kayak with you to sustain you a little bit, hot cup of coffee if needed, like all this stuff. So it's always a great idea when we fish up the Shears. You can see us at what we affectionately call Swallow Hollow. So, does it rhyme? 413 Sporting jumps in and says, does it rhyme with shithole? So, Swallow Hollow is not a term that I can claim as my own. I want to do a shout out to a local radio DJ from our area, from WAQY Rock 102. My good friend, and hopefully, and would be, if you knew him, would be yours, Steve Nagel, the news douche. Great guy. Like, I love this dude. He's awesome. We work in the same industry. Like, he's just a great dude. And he's freaking hilarious. I mean, he just is. And he's used this term to define, like, you ever seen the scenic rest areas along I-91 north and south? Like that? Well, yep. Have you ever seen, what's the movie that comes from? Is it There's Something About Mary? Or is it Dumb and Dumber?
Yes, it's Something About Mary. No.
I forget if you guys, if the jig heads remember what I'm about to explain, what movie this comes from, chime in. I forget if it's Something About Mary or if it's not Dumb and Dumber. I
think it is Something About Mary.
Yeah.
It's Ben Stiller and it's that comedian. What's Harlan? Is it Harlan something? Harlan. What's that comedian in the movie? He's a hitchhiker. He gets picked up by Ben Stiller, and he talks about like 7-minute abs versus 8-minute abs, and then he freaks out when Ben suggests 6-minute abs.
It is.
What movie is that?
It is. So we got Andy jumping in here. He says there's enough things going against Blandford. Just throw that one on the pile. And then he says it is Mary. So it's from the movie Something About Mary, where they say that these scenic rest areas are like hotbeds for like, like really like
explicit gatherings. I think the stereotype. Let me underline that. The stereotype for that type of gathering is with men seeking men.
Exactly, in a discreet fashion. Like that's sort of that's the lore. So that's where this comes from, the movie. So that kind of, I hear Steve Nagel mentioning Swallow Hollow as these, as like mile markers almost. Andy says as a trucker, we used to call them pickle parks. Is there truth? Like, is that like a thing? I mean, I know, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm just curious if, cause let's be honest here. Like, discretion is a huge deal. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of ideal. It really is. But to imagine these fabulous parties happening and people are just mingling and, getting to know one another on the sides of the road. On the sides of the road. My wife and I one time recorded a podcast in one of those areas. The whole podcast, we talked about that, and you would not believe the people who stopped in and would like just flip on like Netflix on their iPad or something and take a nap, or what. It was just weird, like crazy.
Waiting for the party to start.
I think so, and we just ended up taking off. But anyway, so Swallow Hollow comes from that. So Steve, thank you for the use of that term. But now it's become a thing. Like I think John calls it Swallow Hollow, or we've met with John and Nelson before up at Swallow Hollow, and it's just sort of a thing. We just call it Swallow Hollow. Like that's our own little Swallow Hollow. So that's what it is. Continue, Sean. There's more here.
Last week, cousin John and I had gone up the Shears looking for some finny friends. And we stopped at Swallow Hollow. I had to relieve myself. He had to get a bag of chips and a soda for me to put in my body so I could then relieve myself again in the near future. And I went and took a leak, and I come out, and John has paid for the goods and says, "Hey, the cashier is a listener." And I said, "No shit." So I went up and introduced myself, and Dan, the cashier up at Swallow Hollow, is a Jigs and Bigs listener. And I said, "That's great. I got some stickers in the truck. You want some?" He said, "Sure."
That's awesome.
So I ran out there and got them and gave him the stickers, talked briefly, said I'd mention him, and I forgot to last week. We both forgot to. I know we didn't take that down in the notes, so we're pieces of shit for that. I'm a bigger piece of shit, but you're a piece of shit too because we both knew about it.
By proxy.
Proxy piece of, you got my stink on you. So we parted ways, and on the way back to the truck, I said, how did that come up in conversation? And John looked at me funny and said, I don't actually know. He just asked me while I was paying, hey, are you a YouTuber? And John said, well, no, I'm connected with the Jigs and Bigs crew. I fish with them, etc. He said, oh, I listen to Jigs and Bigs. So 1 week late, I apologize. Dan from Swallow Hollow, thank you. Nice meeting you. Keep listening, man. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely, dude. Appreciate you, man. So this just in, it's like breaking news right here. This just in, Andy jumps in and says we need to remind him to tell us a story about a rest stop in Vermont and that it is very, very real. So we'll have that conversation soon. I'm excited to look forward to it. Let's see how this all plays out. Oh, my goodness. So, I mean, this is just amazing.
The last tangent I want to go on before we have this conversation we've been building up to. And of course, because this is the third time I've had to mention it this episode. It's about pee.
It is about pee.
It's about pee. It's about fucking pee.
I was fighting so hard the amount of times that you said taking a leak, not to just throw a little jab in here about this. No pun intended, by the way. But I was like, let me just let him kind of take this on his own. So go for it.
This is self-deprecating. It could be a Sean the Fisherman story. It doesn't have anything to do with fishing. Well, it kind of does.
In a way.
By association. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell it so everyone gets a laugh out of this because this is my life. I decided to visit your trivia night because I didn't think I was going to make it Friday, and it turned out I didn't. So I decided to go to trivia Tuesday night. My wife had taken the kids for a short trip out to the eastern side of the state for a couple days. So I decided Tuesday night, plan B, I'm going to hit trivia. I haven't been on plan B in a while. I need a burger. And that was the day that I faced off against Steve. And honestly, nothing makes me feel better than a plan B burger. They're pretty fucking good. They are good, man. Yeah, I got that mushroom burger. Oh, the mushroom burger is so good. I know a lot of people don't like mushrooms, but I do. And I was unprepared for the fact that it was outside. I wore shorts and a sweatshirt, thinking it was going to be inside and I would be climate controlled and life would be good.
Yep.
It was outside. Honestly, I would have left probably second round, third round based on how I was.
Once that sun went down, it got cold fast.
Yeah, it got real cold. Like I put my hood on. I was just huddled like an Eskimo. I was cold. But I was also second or third place for the entire night and I couldn't
Killing
leave.
it. Yeah.
So by the end of the night, the next to last question, I barely missed out on. That would have put me in third place, sole possession. I would have ended at that point and said, okay, thanks, Bobby, I'm out.
Yep.
There was a tiebreaker question, which I won. Very happy.
Right, yes.
So I finished in third. At this point, I was frozen and had to pee.
Yep.
I also should make note that I had my laptop with me because I was updating chronic trips in between rounds. I was updating my fishing log in between rounds. I was doing all sorts of me stuff. I went into the bathroom. There was a gentleman using one of the two urinals. I took my laptop and placed it directly behind me on the sink up against the wall in the mirror so it was leaning. And I start to do my business. This guy finishes up, goes to wash his hands. Another guy comes in, starts his business. As I'm in midstream, I hear a rattle that sounds like my laptop moving. And I look over my shoulder, my laptop's gone. And the first thing I think of is some motherfucker just stole my laptop. In the act of attempting to button my shit up, it was midstream. I peed all over my fucking shorts. I peed all over my underwear. I peed everywhere because I was running out the door to get my fucking laptop, which has my life's information on it. And we'll never be coming to trivia again. Back from a stranger.
Let me just throw a little descriptive quip in there that this looked like. Have you guys ever seen like a fire hose that's got nobody manning it, where it's just like that's the man walked out of the facilities, and it looked like he was standing like he was on UHF and got the fire hose, if you will.
Wild, wacky water weasel happening right there, folks. Yeah. It was
that's
everywhere.
An old school throwback. Yeah,
my whole left leg just had a stream just right down it. I'm like, what the fuck? So I didn't even get to button my pants. By the time I get to the door, I've got I've got my left hand is on my button trying to vainly do that, and my right hand is about to get ready to ball into a fist because I didn't know what was going on and why this guy had my laptop, and I figured it would be smart to swing first and ask questions later. And I hear him very politely hand it to you and say, "Hey, man, you left your laptop in the bathroom." I open the door and say, "What the fuck is going on?" And I grab the laptop from you. This gentleman and you have the looks on your faces like, what is happening? And I go back into the bathroom and clean myself up the best I can and try to process what just happened there. I come back out to talk to you and I say, "What just happened?" He goes, "That was so-and-so. He's whatever his name was." And I said, "Okay, he took my laptop and he must have handed it to you thinking it was yours because of the fucking Jigs and Big sticker on it."
That's exactly what it is.
And then I said, "Look at my leg, Bobby. I have to go home. I have pee everywhere. There's pee all over me. I'm a child. I have pee up and down my leg. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow." And I left. And I went home and took a shower and cleaned my clothes because I had pee everywhere. So I had thought this was another contestant for trivia doing his good deed for the day. Maybe he had a couple drinks in him and thought he was going to be nice to you. Maybe get some bonus points. I don't know. It was not. It was the manager of the restaurant.
The general manager of the restaurant.
I am glad that I did not follow through on what was happening with my right hand. Because I would not be going to Plan B ever again to get my third place discount.
Yeah.
My third place gift card.
Oh my God.
What would you do if somebody did that? You know, like we don't live in fucking La La Land. If somebody takes your laptop that you don't know, they're probably stealing it.
Oh my God, that is freaking bananas. Oh my God. What's even crazier is that those were not the only bodily fluids spilled at trivia night that night.
Yeah. I didn't even know about that till later.
Yeah, it wasn't until days later that you had known about that. But so just to, I know these listeners are going to hate this because we're putting off this story, but this is good.
I don't care.
So we go and we do this challenge in between. I have a challenge that's like a bonus right about middle of the game. And the challenge varies. It could be anything. It could be a physical thing. It could be a skill thing like cup stacking, or I have some goofy kind of games like minute to win it style stuff. Not anything super crazy, but one of the games I like to play is this game that I was inspired to on the Tonight Show, actually, to kind of riff on, is this game that they call Drinko. And you have this wheel, and I have this virtual wheel, this digital wheel, and normally I'll have it on a television screen or something, but at this place there is no wheel. And on this wheel I have a list of ingredients. And those ingredients are, they spin the wheel 3 times, and those are the 3 ingredients that go on there. And, these are just general ingredients that can be found at any bar, restaurant, tavern, what have you. But in specific combinations, they're pretty gross. They really are. Well, we had a puker. And we've had a number of them with specifically at this one location. But what makes it even more interesting is this guy is like a hero of Drinko, takes pride in doing these types of challenges. And he got the points. Everything was great. And we're about to start round number 3. And I heard out of the, right just off to my side, I heard what sounded like somebody had a pitcher of beer and just dumped it out onto the concrete. Thank God we were outside. I'm like, what the hell? Now, this one individual was obviously in shock. This snuck up on him. I get that. That's fine. But I was talking with his wife after the game, after our back and forth, Sean, about the laptop and the general manager. And I was talking with this guy's wife, and I was like, I feel really bad. I'm like, holy crap. I was like, was it that bad? She's like, no. You better not feel bad about this at all. You came over and said he was good to go. He insisted on finishing the drink for his own prosperity. And she even said to him, she's like, if you're going to get sick, you better make it to the freaking men's room, because that is bullshit. We're not having that happen. And before, she was just like, he just kind of started staring at me and then started vomiting. I'm like, wow, that is amazing.
Just a suggestion to Plan B. Yep. Actually, let me make it 2 suggestions. Number 1, if somebody leaves something in the bathroom, don't claim it until after hours, until everyone's gone. Second suggestion, maybe they should invest in a small bucket for Drinko.
I think I might invest in a small bucket.
Yeah,
that might be a good idea. I have, but the rest of the week we took a little break from Drinko and let people kind of get their stuff. It's not it's not like it's a crazy list where people are puking all over the place. Like 9.8 times out of 10. Everybody's fine. And these drinks, although they might be kind of gross, it is what it is. But let me tell you,
I didn't puke.
You didn't know. Let me tell you what was in this glass, though, that this hero amongst men put down. It was he spun the wheel, and it was a raw egg, beer, and that could be anything that they have behind the bar. And they chose a stout. I'm not sure exactly which one, but it was a stout, so kind of in that direction. And it had a nice lattice. The third ingredient was mayo, and it had a nice lattice on top of mayo, and it was, a little bit too much. Which surprises me because I've done this guy's Jack and Jill, and he wanted to do this comical crazy drinko thing, save the bride, save the groom, and he drank something that had gin, maple syrup, pixie sticks, freaking all kinds of random stuff. It was reacting as he drank it. Not a problem. This guy's got an iron stomach. Just snuck up on him. Now that I've disgusted our entire audience. Jesus Christ.
Oh, you've discussed it here? I just told everybody I was running around pissing myself, trying to get my laptop back.
Pissing yourself, exposing yourself to listeners, listen to this bags, motherfucker.
Yep. I do a podcast. I do a podcast, motherfucker.
I love it.
Well, let me tell the audience now.
Yeah.
We've been building to this. I got a phone call on Saturday while I was out right after I had released my 21 plus inch pickerel and was very happy with myself for getting to that 200 marker in the Chronic Trips tournament, which we'll talk about Chronic Trips later, not important right now. I got a call. Do you know what that call was from, Bobby Roast Beef?
I do know.
Yeah, it was from Eric Cartman. He was out of breath. You ever seen that episode where he's out of breath? He's excited. He goes, you guys, seriously, you guys, he's just running around in circles. That's who I got a call from. Eric Cartman running around in circles.
Pretty much.
I actually got a call from one each, Robert Prosciutto, aka Bobby Roast Beef.
Indeed.
And Bobby Roast Beef was out of breath and excited. And I would like you to take up the reins of this story from this point, sir, because I cannot do it justice.
Let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm gonna paint the picture like this. I had a rough week fishing, skunk all week long. Every outing I had was just no good. And then we got this really cold snap that had kind of happened on Friday. Thursday was really bad. Friday started to get a little bit better. And I had made plans to go out fishing with my buddy Paul and an amazing listener and pro staffer for Hookset Hoodlums, Chris Tabari. And Chris is a Central Mass guy. He's awesome. I've had a few opportunities to meet him. I've met him over at Old Glory before, and he's been pretty active with a lot of us now as part of the Hookset Hoodlum pro staff. He's been even more of the family. So this was going to happen one way or another. I get a call from Paul saying that he's not able to make it. He had a change in his plans with the family, so Saturday morning's off the table. I said, no worries. And the plan was, now, Sean, should I mention the water that we were at or
Nope.
All right. Okay.
I wouldn't.
We went to a extremely pressured body of water in this area, and there's decent bank fishing access. You can cover a good amount of bank, but it gets hammered. It gets truly hammered. It does produce big fish. I caught my personal best smallmouth, which was just shy of 3 pounds from this body of water, and Paul had caught his personal best largemouth, which is right, I forget the exact number. It was right around 5. And this was that fish that he caught that caused this big stir on Instagram, and you know how that goes. Not Instagram, on Facebook. So I had gone back here and this time of year, I'm looking to up that smallmouth bite. I'm looking to up that personal best smallmouth. That's really kind of my target. There's a few spots that I know. Chris was like, I don't really know that much for places out in Western Mass. Let's go ahead and do it. So I meet up with him at the spot. I send him the coordinates. We meet up. We're getting all of our gear together. And we head out. We make our way around. We start out fishing this one point. We get on this trail. We start making our way around, and we get to this one area. And I was like, "This is the area that I kind of like to start with. Let's go ahead and work this area, and then we'll just kind of go along this way, and we'll just work the bank as we go." Well, I was throwing a jerkbait. I was throwing a 6 cents 106X Provoke, and It was really cold. The only information that I kind of had about this place was that where the sun was rising, and I kind of knew that these banks would be the move. I want to start this and say I got really lucky. Like really lucky that formula that I mentioned on the show before about preparation and experience and luck. This luck was on my side with this 100%. Like I made a good decision to fish a specific bank for a handful of reasons, and the rest was just by chance. So cut right to the chase. I did up my personal best. I caught a new personal best largemouth bass, which blew my mind. Not only did I break that previous record of 19 3/4 inches, but I destroyed that number. It is likely that in New England, I may never beat this number for the rest of my life. It is possible. Those fish, when they get to this size, are rare. They're not easy to find. So this is what was so amazing about this. I'm fishing this jerkbait, and I'm just kind of working the bank, and everything's, we're having a great conversation. I'm with Chris. We're having a great conversation. Let me back up. When we were back at the car, Chris said something to me. He's like, "You got a net?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a net, but I usually don't take it with me when I'm bank fishing." I was like, and especially here, it's really not that problem. Could have used the net. And I want to thank Chris for being there to get, jump on the ground and lip this guy and lip this lady, because she was clearly ready to drop some eggs. So this is what happened. I'm working this jerkbait real slow, and I'm letting that, suspend and slowly float up because it was pretty shallow where we were. And I just give it a pop, maybe 2 twitches and let it sit. And I'd count in my head kind of like silently. I'm just like, all right, 6, 8, 10 seconds, pop it again. I see this face of this bass move into the range of visibility right at the bank. And then I see her turn to the right, and my jerkbait is gone. I cannot see it anymore. And I just reel down a little bit and slowly lean back up as she starts to dart for deeper water, and she was hooked. And I'm like, holy shit, right at the bank, and the way that this rod bent over, Chris knew. He's like, holy shit. He jumps down on the ground. He's like, I got her. He grabs her, brings her up. This beauty measured 22 inches on the nose, 16 inches in girth, and came in weighing at 6.6 pounds. This is an amazing catch. So,
bravo, sir, bravo.
I am so lucky that Chris was there. He started immediately rolling some video clips and then taking a bunch of pictures. There's a point in some of the videos where I was like, I got work to do, because I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I wanted to release this fish in the water as soon as possible. So I take off my my brand new Samurai Tactical sling pack, and I start rifling around in there, and I grab that's hanging right on the side, my fish grips and my scale. I hang the fish grips, I zero out the scale. I put the fish on the scale, and I get the weight. Did you yell, I just caught a 6-pounder? I yelled a lot of expletives. Some of those are on the video. Like, I don't think the stream of expletives had stopped until I released her and then shouted out, now that's man cologne. It's true, it was 6.66 was the official weigh-in, but unfreaking believable. So I have this fish, and the one thing that, like, when I'm bank fishing, especially if I'm putting some miles on like that, I don't like to carry my catch board. Because it's really inconvenient. I don't want to also forget it or lose it or anything, but I always have in my pack a tape. And not like a traditional, like I always have a measuring tape that measures out to about a yard. And the reason why I have that, because even if I do have my catch board while I'm on my kayak, what I want that tape for is so I can get the girth measurement. You got to have that, So that's really where that came into frame of reference. And the other thing is too, if you ever catch a fish like this and you're like me and you want to do a replica, what you got to do, what you can do, is take some fishing line and cut the pieces to match what you've got. So that way you can then measure those pieces and provide them to the taxidermist to do your replica. That's like a backup plan, but I took the notes. I got it all set out. I, clicked the button on my hat for the Angler app, marked the spot, put all this stuff together. And, once we got the weight and all the measurements, and that's why there's pictures of her with pine needles and dirt all over the place. And it's because I had to measure her on the ground flat. I had to pin that tape down, pull it tight, and then get a good measurement. 22 inches on the nose, 16-inch girth, 6.66 pounds. Unbelievable. Like, this is mind-blowing. I get down to the water, and I go to release her. And she immediately turns around and starts swimming into the bank again. So much so that she's just right up on her side. So I grab her lip again and I try and release her again. She came back again. What can I say, Sean? I'm irresistible. She did not want to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody wants to leave you.
Yeah. She did not want to leave. So what I did was I lipped her again. I supported her belly and I kind of gave her the 1, 2, 3 and sent her out a little bit further off of the bank. And then one big swoop of the tail, like she was just out of there.
You sent her seaworthy.
I did send her seaworthy. The beauty was when I saw that face come up, I figured it was like a 2-pounder. I was like, yeah, that's a good sized fish. I did not think that this fish was going to break 6 pounds, go nearly the weight that it did there. So, at this point, I just released her, shouting out, "Now that's man cologne." Which, by the way,
nice job, man.
Is a scent. Thank you. It is a scent that you'll be able to get soon. That's a collab from Jigs and Bigs and Summit View Scents. So if you would like to have the man cologne scent in your house, you can do that. Anyway, for the rest of the day, like my brain was scrambled eggs at that point. It was just like it didn't matter. There was one fish caught for me this week, and it was that one. It was the only one that mattered. It was unbelievable. And like I said, that was luck. I'm not claiming that I knew she was going to be. I had no idea. This was just right place, right time. And that little bit of info, knowing what the bank it was like, what kind of material was there, the orientation of the sun at that hour, that I should focus on these areas, it really paid off. It really did pay off. So I'm like, this is another, bait that I've been trying to put the work into since not this spring, since last spring. I've been wanting to get better and better and better with using a suspending jerkbait, and it's starting to work out. I've only ever caught 3 fish on a jerkbait before. One was a pickerel, one was a dink bass, and the other one is this one. So it's crazy.
Let this be a lesson to all our listeners, man. You have succeeded 3 times this year in areas that you've had trouble with in the past.
I wanted to apply myself. Yeah.
You caught fish in extremely cold water.
Yep.
From the bank.
Yeah.
Number 2, you caught fish on a rattling lipless crankbait. You wanted to do that. You did that.
Search bait.
Number 3, you broke your personal best. Well, there's a lot of search baits out there, but that particular one you were having issues catching fish with. You did some research on not only the lure and the technique itself, but where to throw it on the body of water you were fishing, and you succeeded. And now you succeeded with a fucking suspending jerkbait by doing your homework on where you were at, what was going on around you. Dude, congratulations. That is absolutely fucking awesome.
That it's the killer for me is just that it's like, the one thing that I'll say from when I decided what my goals were going to be for this year is knowing the map reading. That's so important, Yep. And it's the one thing that I would say is pinnacle about all of those things happening is knowing the contours of where you're at. I mean, there's definitely ways that, if you know how to use a certain bait and kind of cover water quickly, you can determine where the fish are. There's ways around that, but that's going to take time. If you can just have an idea of what it is that you're fishing before you get there and apply a technique that will work well in that area. And, it's that has been the game changer for me this year was building in okay, so we can find fish. I don't need to rely on the spots where I've caught fish here at this time. Let's remember this and everything else. This is really, it's good stuff. And some of those were on brand new water. I mean, unfreaking believable. But yeah,
and we're seeing I know some of the guys involved with Hookset have been reaching out to me how do you break down water?
Yeah,
and I've shown you a ton of shit, and I don't know if you used any of it. I'm hoping you did, but I'm always honest with here's where I would start on an unknown body of water. Here's how I would approach it. See where it goes. There's never any answer. I think where the luck came in, and this, I don't like using that luck thing because you did the preparation. Right?
I did, yeah. But I'll tell you one reason. The main reason why I say luck is that I had no conceivable idea that there was a fish that large there. That's the luck. Yeah, that's where the luck comes from.
the luck comes in, like there could be one little thing off in that area that you've pre-picked that you feel they're going to be fish at. Might not be that. It might be 10 feet off just because a cold front came in and they're just hanging out a little deeper. There's too many variables to like really pinpoint. So when I break down a lake, I was talking with Damien from Stretching Lines this week. I stopped by there. And he said, "What do you think of this lake?" And I said, "Well, here's how I would approach it in the summer, but I don't know how it is in the spring because things might be a little different. The fish might be looking for warmer water. I don't know this, but I said, here's how I would approach it in the summer," and gave him three areas that I said I'd like to investigate: 1, 2, and 3, right? And in order.
Yep. 413 Sporting jumps in and says, "Oh, this makes perfect sense now. This wouldn't happen to be the fish that has absolutely flooded my news feed. That's the fish. That's the fish." Yeah.
Congratulations on having such a large social media following, because everybody saw that fish. Everybody knew this conversation was coming.
And the feedback. So there's a little bit more to this. This past weekend, yesterday, was my wife and I's 12th year wedding anniversary. So congrats for her sticking around with me that long. That's amazing. But I told her, I said to her, was it Thursday or Friday night? I think it might have been Thursday night. I said, let's go out for dinner. My oldest had a sleepover at a friend's house. And, I said, Saturday night, we'll go out to dinner. You pick the spot, whatever you want to do, we'll go. So we went to this amazing restaurant we went to. I remember our first wedding anniversary, we went there. It's the Federal in Agawam. Unbelievable spot. Great place. And I said, we'll go out for dinner. And then I was like, Sunday we'll have ourselves like, some type of a celebratory breakfast, because that's our anniversary date. I got home from that trip out with Chris, and I was like blown away. I was creating that video and getting some stuff in, because we had plenty of time before dinner was about to start. So I'm creating this video, I'm making posts. Within the first 10 minutes, I had Wild Bill called me, my phone rang several times, people texting, DMing, sharing the pictures, sharing the video, getting all of this stuff out there. And I just thank you to everybody. It really made me feel like $1 million, but I'll tell you, and I of course, like, I'm getting my balls busted from the old lady, because she's like, "Okay, great, you caught a big fish. That's fantastic." And I was like, "You don't realize," I'm like, this is like, for a New England angler to get a fish of that caliber is like a hole-in-one in golf. It's like it's one of those kind of moments where you're like, and I was like, it's all good. So I did make a concerned effort to leave my phone in the car while we were at dinner, because I was like, there's no way, like, it's not going to stop, going off. So that's what I did. It was unbelievable. It was great.
My baby's all grown up. Yeah. Oh man, that is killer. That was a fish of a lifetime. And wow. Honestly, congrats to you. You killed it.
Yeah. So right now I'm actually looking for taxidermists to do the replica, and I've got a bunch. Like I probably have like 24 different people to take a look at and see what we're going to do. And my plan is once we get to a spot where I've got that person down, the replica's all done, I want to do a live stream unveiling right here, and it's gonna hang either right here behind me, or I'm going to retool the studio down here to have it, because that's what I'm not sure if I want to do a tabletop. If I want to do a tabletop or a wall hanging mount. So we'll figure it out.
Can't you do one with a piece of driftwood that you can do both with?
That is possible. That's the thing, and it might be. So that's one of the things I have to figure out. Like it's a sizable thing, and we'll figure it out. But like some of the people that actually have gotten recommended to me are like award-winning taxidermists from as far out as there's one guy specifically in Oklahoma that has like won nationally, and so I've actually DM'd him and a few others, and I've reached out to try to set this up. So looking forward to doing that, and I will that's the thing. If I'm going to beat this PB, I may have to travel out of state, and I've got no problem with that. In order to find.
You never know. You see anything up to 10 pounds getting caught in mass usually once a year. I mean, right now, think about it this way: the catch and release pin winner right now, I believe, is at 24 inches.
That's crazy.
For mass.
I just watched a video before we started this show, and it was a wired to fish video, and it features, I forget the name of the angler. He's an Australian guy, and he caught a 10.3 that came in at, was it 26 inches?
Yeah, I think so. That was this week.
Yeah.
Wasn't it on Wired to Fish?
Yeah, it was on Wired to Fish, yeah. Huge huge behemoth of a fish. But this was in Texas, and I know like the double digit thing everybody's going for, and looking in certain parts of the country that is a little bit easier to do. Locally in New England, I may not necessarily break this. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try,
Yeah.
But I do know like there's other parts of the country where I could break this record, and that's where the next replica will be, and it's like I'm blown away. Unbelievable. And then add to that like I was fishing with Chris, who has amazing stories. And I've got to tell you this about Chris DeBari as well. I don't know if you figured this out yet, but the man can do vocal impressions like you don't even know. We had a long conversation about Bobcat Goldthwait.
Phenomenal Bobcat. I love Bobcat.
Amazing. Like, God. Yeah, we had such a good time. So thank you, Chris, for being there. I appreciate it. You definitely helped out, and I just appreciate, like I said, I say it on every interview. Sometimes a company you're with can make or break a trip. This was gravy all around. Like it was amazing all around. Like the conversation, we went out, we had some killer breakfast at a spot we took a chance on. Unbelievable celebratory meal. Oh man, it was just good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh, great job, man. That was absolutely awesome. I'm so proud that you got that fish because you've been talking about that for a while. And
yep.
Fuck, man, I can't wait to see the replica. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah,
it's all downhill from here now. Next thing you know, you're going to be fucking fishing in a tournament and catch 34 fish under 13 inches and think that's good.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like, that's my great day. Numbers are awesome, but I'm like, man, oh my goodness. I just can't even believe it. I have gotten many DMs saying, that fish is a giant. Where'd you catch him? And I'm like, in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like in the water. Because the last thing I want to do is just send a bunch of people out somewhere. But I will say that this makes me feel really good. That water that is that heavily pressured can contain such high quality fish. Like don't be afraid to go and fish where everybody else is fishing. Just keep fishing,
Yeah, exactly. So I just looked real quick while you were talking. The current catch and release largemouth leader for Massachusetts is a 24, and you'll never guess where it's out of.
Where?
Connecticut River.
Really?
Where? Yeah, it's on the page. So it was caught out of the Oxbow.
Oh, okay.
So everyone's heard me talk about the Oxbow before. There's pike in there. There's huge carp. There's bowfin. The reason that these fish get so big there is it's one of the weedy oasis on the Connecticut River. It's an oxbow, and there's a lot of there's herring go by there, and the shad go up there to breed. Do they make it that far? They go up the fish ladder.
Yep.
So yeah, there's plenty of bait fish there. There's golden shiners up there. Those fish eat anything they want, and they get enormous.
Yeah.
So there is a magnificent bass that came out of there that was released back 24 inches, and that's
giant. That's a freaking giant, man.
And you know what I'd like to do? Like
What's
really,
that?
I just for shits and grins in a couple of days, I want you to throw me some information if you don't mind.
Yeah, I can do that.
This is definitely sketchy for you after the conversation we had in November.
Yep.
But if you don't mind, I only need lengths. Could you throw me the lengths of all the fish you've caught in April at the end of this month?
At the end of this month? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And the lengths and the dates, species length date. You know why?
Why is that?
I just want to show you something. I want to show me something too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bump all your numbers up against chronic trips and see how you would have done.
Oh yeah.
Because you would have won largemouth. That's 4 points.
Oh yeah. I would have taken that for sure. And actually, having a Laker would have given me a point as well.
Yeah. And how big was that Laker? 18 or something like that?
17 and a half.
You might have got more than 1 point. I'm thinking off the top of my head, but I'm just curious if you don't mind doing that.
Yeah, I can do
obviously you're not competing. I just want to see how you would have done, because that's that point when I had 2 weeks in 2019 where I loaded up on fish that were larger than 20 inches. I mean, I had the greatest 2 weeks span that I can think of. I made one modification to a lure, and the fish decided that was their thing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I caught fish all over the Berkshires with this one change, and I was in one monthly tournament, and it flopped over the next month, and I won. And then I thought about it. I'm like, how would I have done in the KBF against a stiffer competition? and I would have won one of the two there. So that's why I now pick and choose what tournaments I want to go into, because I know, there's a chance if I'm going to get fish, risk and reward. If it's $25 to enter a tournament, how do I think I'm going to do? But I'm not, you and I are in different boats, you know what I mean, with the tournament stuff. So I'm not pressing you on anything. I just want to see, just for shits and grins.
Do you want me to? It's only a handful of fish. Do you want me to give you those numbers now?
And begin.
All right. So just what I'm using is the Angler app, where I store all my info. And let's go ahead and take a look. This one fish here.
Can you go chronologically? That would be awesome.
Yep. So on April the 7th, I caught a 13 1/4.
What, bass?
Largemouth. Yep. All of these except for that Laker will be largemouth.
Okay.
I caught 3 dink bass on April the 9th. One was 12 3/4. One was 10 1/4. And one was another 10.
Those are all legal?
Yep, they're all legal. They would all counted. Then we go over to the trip last week, which was the 17th. And I caught 2. Where are they? Here we go. That Laker was a 17 1/2. And I caught a 16 1/2 largemouth that day. And then this last weekend was a 22.
And what day was that?
That was on the 24th.
24th, 22 largemouth. So right off the bat, I mean, just looking, you've got 4 points for the largemouth.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to look real quick on the trout. I know we just got a message from 413 Sporting, but I want to double check my shit because that's what I do.
Yep.
Hope this isn't boring for anybody.
No. Hey, this is exciting.
Give me the Dr. Bill music while I'm doing this.
The Dr. Bill. Let me see if I can track it down. Dr. Bill.
So, looks like Laura Huard is in third place for trout.
Yep.
With a 17 1/2, so that you could get the tiebreaker on that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you the benefit of the tiebreaker on that. Sorry, Laura. This is all an exercise in futility anyways. So that's 2 points for there, right? And then let's say you had turned in that 16. I mean, being real here. Let's get fucking real, right?
Hang on.
You probably would have turned in that 16 1/2 as a largemouth.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely would have.
So we'll call him as culled, right?
Yep.
So from that point, you've got
that 13 wouldn't have made it either. It's those dinks that all would have been in the NE5.
Okay. 12.75, 10, 20.25.
This is fantastic.
All right. I have a judgment.
Okay.
So you would have had 4 points, 2 points. You would have had 7 points. That would have put you in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Tied for 11th or 11th place.
Yep.
Out of 25 people. Again,
yeah.
With tournaments, what's your baseline? So now, from what happened to you in whatever it was, October, where you were all upset and you didn't finish well, now you've taken a step forward. Now you're in 11th out of 25. Now you're finishing in the top 50%.
No, 100%.
Just a step. That's all. That's all I want to say about that. I'm not pressuring you to do anything. And even though I know you're going to be in next month,
I'm going to be in next month. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Let's
get that out of the way.
Let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's talk about that. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll do all of our tournament update stuff. And yeah, I think that ought to do it. Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's go ahead and discuss May. Because there's more going on in May besides that tournament. So we'll start out with some great news that in May we're launching our brand new store, our store for Jigs and Bigs merchandise. Why is this a good thing for you guys? Well, a couple of things. First off, it is a local New England-based company that's doing all of our printing and embroidery. And what they're doing is they're doing the stuff in-house and handling the shipping for us. We appreciate you guys. Mantis Graphics, thank you very much. This store is going to have a lot of the classics that you've come to know, like the Jigs and Bigs T-shirts with our the Jigs and Bigs logo that you can actually see in the over there in the top corner over there. That logo. We've got T-shirts. We've got hoodies. We've got there we go. Berkshire Brett changed his name. I keep forgetting who's who when they use aliases. Except Loaded Potato, you can't forget that. So we have the what do you call it? Where was I here? Oh, the store.
Graphics.
So we have that. We're releasing a brand new design, which is the Sean the Fisherman metal Jigs and Bigs t-shirt. That's available in a couple of different ways. We have all of those designs available as performance gear as well, meaning that they're treated with SPF and they're quick drying. I mean, these are fantastic. We've got a wide array of sizes too, and colors. So there's a lot of options for people. We're adding some hats. We're going to carry our logo hats in 3 different models. Those should be added up there soon. And this is all going to go live on May 1st. And basically, it's all available at jigsandbigs.com. Go there, click on our store. It'll bring you right over to the Mantis Graphics store. You can make all your orders right there. The reason why this is so amazing is that we have not adjusted any of the prices. These are basically we're going to be running a month-long sale. So if you want to gear up with multiple items, and this is your chance to go ahead and do this, and we're discounting them heavily. So go ahead and get whatever stuff that you're into, and we'll have you all set up. And there's going to be more stuff that we'll be adding on here and there, and creating other designs as well. But to start out, we've got a good core of items that people can get to support the show and rock our logo when they're out on the water or out at social events or anything like that, or even while you're at dinner with your wife on your anniversary. You want to rock a Jigs and Bigs t-shirt at a 5-star restaurant like some kind of podcast host. You could do that.
Yep. Just keep in mind that introductory price is only for the first month. The price is going to go up after
it'll change in June
1st.
Yep. It'll change in June. And we're basically doing that as a thank you to everybody to kind of like get you guys in there. So there's no promo code needed, nothing like that. We're starting out with that. Great way to go ahead and do it. So that's May, as far as merch goes for Jigs and Bigs. Now we do have a bit of a snafu that's holding up the tournament pre-registration. I would love to have that pre-reg right now, but it's just not ready. So Sean, go ahead and jump in, and we'll talk about all this.
Yeah, one of the things, unfortunately, with Fish Donkey that we've run into an issue with is the app using its own camera. And I've talked with Fish Donkey numerous times about this, and they feel that it's a feature of their product, and they don't want to. They don't want to change that. They don't want to. That's the way they do business. So that's fine. The problem with that is when you get like this tournament in particular, where you have a lot of people that are competitive anglers, we're all used to taking a photo with our phone and then applying it to numerous apps, whether it's TourneyX, Fishing Chaos, whatever. And when we do that, if I catch a 19-inch great example, the 19-inch largemouth I caught in the tournament at Quabog.
Yep.
I had to take a picture with my camera roll, take a picture from my camera on my phone that I could apply to. I actually applied it to Fishing Chaos and TourneyX. Then I had to put the fish back in the net, wait for Fish Donkey to open up, because I'm not going to leave a fish sitting out on the board for up to, however long it takes, whether it's 5 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. And then I had to pull the fish back out and take a whole nother photo shoot. Where that matters is for tournament anglers, you don't have that time to play around. Even if it's only a minute, but if you do it 5 times, there's 5 minutes of your day. You might be sitting on a school of fish that may move in that 5 minutes. It happens, and it is unfortunate, but I have heard some feedback from some of our contestants in the Chronic Trips tournament that they weren't turning fish in because that extra step was too much. I mean, I know it sounds trivial, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. That's a time that adds up.
If you're in a Chronic Trips tournament where the grand prize is some gear versus a tournament like that Quabog one that had big payouts, you guess what? Chronic Trips is waiting, and you'd love to be able to just put it in, quickly from the camera roll at any time. But Fish Donkey feels that their method of doing things prevents cheating, and we had a discussion about that, and it's just bottom line, we just
don't see eye to eye.
Yeah, we don't see eye to eye on it. So it looks like we're going with Fishing Chaos for this tournament. We're going to get finalized on that, and then we're going to have a huge social media blitz on it for anybody that's interested. Just unfortunate that As a tournament director, the biggest thing I want to see is participation. And when people are telling me that straight up a feature on the app is preventing them from turning in fish or dissuading them from turning in fish, then I have to try and amend that and say, hey, is there another way? And unfortunately, in this case, there's not. So we're going to be using Fishing Chaos for this. We're doing the setup this week. As soon as the registration is live, we're going to blast it.
I started blasting. Bah, bah.
Yeah. Just follow us on Instagram, Sean the Fisherman or Jigs and Bigs. I mean, it's definitely going to be on the Jigs and Bigs, and I'm going to echo everything and then add my own.
Yep.
The thing that I'm going to say in the first place on this, that to prep people, no more measuring tapes, no more of these laser etched bullshit rulers. Hog trough, catch board.
Yep.
If you don't have that, I'm DQing. I'm not wasting any time. All right. This isn't Chronic Trips. Chronic Trips is the first step to this.
Yeah.
Okay. The Jigs and Bigs tournament is tighter. Second thing, one of the things that I, as a director, have been reaching out to people, and I'm sure the contestants are sick about in Chronic Trips, but again, Chronic Trips is more about the participation and learning.
Yep.
KBF events, MAKB events, we have to have closed mouths. If your mouth is open, you're going to get penalized for it. I got fish this tournament that were like, the mouths were wide open, and I did text the competitors and say, guys, this isn't that hard. Get the mouths closed. I've shown how to do it. We did that video last year. So that's another thing. So measuring boards are going to be tighter, and the way I'm going to be measuring fish is now. Here's the other thing about Fishing Chaos, which is a neat feature that people are going to enjoy and hate, but it helps people who want to learn get better if you don't take it personally. And again, that's taking it personally. Some people do, some people don't. There is a challenge button. So Bobby Roast Beef, if you turn in a fish and the mouth is wide open and that thing looks like it's auditioning on the casting couch, somebody can challenge that.
Yeah, exactly.
If Berkshire Brett's in the tournament, he seems excited about it. Berkshire Brett can challenge it and say, hey, Sean,
what the hell is
Bobby,
this?
Bobby had this fish wide open. Opening a fish's mouth adds to the length. If somebody's visibly pinching the tail, that's no good either. Yes, Berkshire Brett is asking. It's going to be the same exact point system with tighter rules.
Yep. That's the idea.
That's what Fishing Chaos is working on us for right now. They are doing tournaments that are unorthodox, to say the least. They look at every different type of tournament as a challenge. When I talked with Jesse from Fishing Chaos the other day, he said, so you're running a point system? I said, yes. They're going to have it so that I don't have to put updates on Instagram. There's going to be a point total
on the app.
Yes, it's all going to be transparent and not, okay, so Bobby has the biggest largemouth, Sean has a second, now I have to do math or wait for Sean's update.
Yep.
No, it's all going to be visible, transparent right there.
And this will be nice for the show, too, because then we can just open the app and give, hey, at this time, this is what the standings are. If you're interested, open up your app and take a look,
Yes, so I'm waiting to hear back from them on working out the nuts and bolts on it, but this is where we're going. Oh, good. Okay, so that Brett brings up a good point. I know he's joking, obviously. He's put the little smiley face, but if somebody's just challenging every fish, you're going to hear from me.
Yeah.
Like, do it right. If you have a legitimate cause and say, hey, Sean, like, I think you fucked up, I'm fine with that. I'm not a perfect human being, but if somebody's challenging everything, that adds more work to me. I'm trying to take the workload down a little bit because I do a lot of work at Chronic Trips on this documentation stuff that nobody realizes. Mm-hmm. And when I talk with you about it, I think, I don't know. I mean, it's just documentation, but it takes time. And I would like to whittle that down. Challenges add more of that. So Brett, I don't hate you. I know you're joking, but see, in all seriousness, like if it's a legitimate challenge and somebody really feels that a mouth is open, somebody's touching a tail, there's rules. I mean, if you think that there's a problem, challenge it. But here's what I'm going to say. And Ken said it. I've said it numerous times. I'm going to have those rules out there. Read them, because I'm going to disqualify something and then turn and say, did you read the rules? It's right there. I put it up. I'm not changing them, So it's going to take some education on the angler, but I think after a few challenges, people will get the gist of it. So this is the next step in tournament, guys.
Yeah,
Chronic Trips.
It's going to be awesome.
Here's your entry-level stuff. We're tightening the belts up for Jigs and Bigs, okay? So I think we covered that, right?
Oh yeah, we will have the moment open registration is open for this. You will see it on a post on the Jigs and Bigs Instagram, both on our story. We're gonna flood it. You're not gonna have to go to our website for this. It's gonna be. I'm actually gonna try to provide a link on our story for you to be able to just download the app. I'm fairly certain that Fishing Chaos is set up that way, where they've got a page where they've got hot links right to each store, be it Android or Apple.
Yes.
Yeah, so this will be all set up. It'll be really, really great. I like that.
Yep.
This is going to be really exciting for everybody. But again, I would like it to have the registration happening now. But this one little thing was enough of an issue where we were like, should we try to make this work? Should we maybe? And it was only a day ago that we made the decision that we're like, we should try to nip this in the bud and move on as quickly as we can.
Yeah, so we're actually, this is last minute stuff, and one of the things with Fishing Chaos was when I presented the time frame we were dealing with to them.
Yep.
Jesse kind of laughed and said, "Let me tell you what happened last weekend." And I'm not going to mention the tournament trail or whatever that happened, but it was national, and they had an issue that makes ours pale in comparison because they had literally 4 hours to get a complete swap over with what they were doing, and it was amazing what they did. So I'm looking forward to working more with them. And we'll see what goes on. But just pay attention to our Instagram. Pay attention to, I'm sure we'll post it on Facebook. This is probably going to be the only time that I, as a B-list social media user compared to you, will actually say to our extended family and everyone involved, share this post. Dear God, everyone share this. Get the word out. We got to get this shit going. It's just unfortunate. But last weekend was kind of the tipping point with a couple of things that happened with the Fish Donkey app, and we had to make a decision, and it was just late. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yep. So. And the interest is definitely there, where we have enough people who are competing in multiple tournaments where this is kind of a problem. We don't want to have folks decide they don't want to be part of it because now they have to deal with this other app. So we're just trying to what we're really trying to do is just make the best call for the competitors that are involved and kind of make it all sort of work out. And I think that's the way to do it.
And to flesh this out, just so if you make a mistake on Fish Donkey and you can't, you're like, oh shit, I took pictures for, I don't know, whatever, Tourney X and Fish Chaos, and I forgot to take the picture for that. Because you have to use that app's camera, you've got one chance to do it.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh shit, I took my pictures for Fishing Chaos. Oh, I forgot to put them into Tourney X. I can do that when I get home.
Yep.
You got one chance. So I don't want to play around with that anymore. If you forget, you're fucked. So let's go about it this way. So
I love it.
I think we said enough about that. Just everyone pay attention, please, to our social media, and we're on it. We're working it. We'll get there. That's
Sweet.
That.
You want to get into tournament time?
I want to run right into Chronic Trips because things have been going just fucking crazy over there. So we ready? Is this my theme? Oh, there we go. There's my dropout. All right. I'm Sean, the fisherman, here with the Chronic Trips update for the week. I want to talk first about, before we get into the fishing aspect, one thing that we have not divulged was the actual prizes for Chronic Trips. And I'm going to do a little bit of divulging here. Seth and I went to Old Glory last week. We met early in the morning. We had a shopping spree. I'm going to divulge 3 prizes in particular. Okay, all of them based on the survey that Bobby was so nicely took a couple months ago with what people wanted for the Jigs and Bigs tournament. We played off that, and you were cool with it. I think I ran that by you 2 months ago or whatever. We went to Old Glory with the money that people put in for tournament, and obviously minus the planting of trees in wildfire ravaged California that Chronic Trips does with a little portion of the entry fee. We went on a shopping spree to get prizes for everybody. For first place, amongst other things, the placeholder prize is a new spinning reel. I'm going to leave it at that. It's a good one. It was on Joe's recommendation. He said, why don't we go with this one? I said, great, Joe. Thank you for the input. Second prize is a beautiful multi-tool. Again, one of Joe's recommendations. And again, this is not the only prize. There's stuff around this which people are going to be very pleased with. I'm not saying anything about it. Okay. The third prize, the main placeholder, is one of Old Glory Outdoors brand new combat boxes. So there's lures in there. Cool. That's first, second, third. There are lures and gear with those, each of those. Freshwater fish prize. Largest freshwater fish. A couple of high-end lures that I said, well, I know how popular these are. I think people are going to get a kick out of them. Same thing for freshwater and saltwater. A couple of high-end lures. Each one, and I don't think anybody is going to complain about these. I was really, really psyched. The other larger prizes we have are all for anybody who beat or set a record. And right now, there are 8 of them. So people will be pleased. They're tackle packs, really nice stuff. Seth and I just said, okay, we need this, that, and this. And we went to work, both of us picking stuff out. It was good stuff. Finally, for everyone who turned in a fish in the tournament, we put together a sticker pack with a lure or a pack of plastics from Stretching Line Plastics. So thank you, Damien. He donated all those. Anybody who turned in a fish, you're going to get something out of this, which is stickers from all the sponsors, plus a nice pack of lures from Stretching Lines Plastics. And I will say this, Damien has done something rather ingenious. The Stretching Line stickers that are affixed to the packages are not stuck to them via the adhesive on the back of the sticker. You can pull those off and put them on your truck. There's a little blob of adhesive he used. So anybody who gets those, you've got a Stretching Line sticker in there on the bag of plastics. Please don't throw that away. If you're going to use it, put it on your coffee mug, your refrigerator, your truck, your boat, your pet, your kid brother, whatever the hell you want to do. I'm kidding about the pet and the kid brother, right? We understand that. I don't want to get a lawsuit thrown at us for recommending sticker usage. Now, that's the prizes. Seth and I were very, very excited. They're all ready to go. I cannot wait to start getting these things out to people once we figure out what's what. As far as last week goes with the standings, there's a tie at first. It's a tie, but there's a tiebreaker that I am currently in second on. So first place is Andy Quinn, the loaded potato, the potato loaded. He has done more with multi-species shenanigans. He did catch a pike, so he pulled up even with me, and because he has the tiebreaker, first tiebreaker, if you read the rules on the app, is most species caught. This is a multi-species tournament. I figured that was a good way to break a tie. You?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Smart move, right? Andy's got like 8 or 9 species caught. He's an animal. He went out there and took this multi-species thing to heart. So we both have 17 points. I have 6 to his 8 or 9 or whatever it is. So I am in second place. Third place by himself, John Connon, who has pulled up. He is another multi-species guy. He has as many species as Andy, just not as many points. He has 15 points. Fourth place, Mitch Gase, the lip gripper. He has 11 points. He has a tiebreaker over Mark Huard with they both have 11. Mark has 1 fewer species catch than him. And then in 6th place, the last contestant with double digits in points is Georgie Costa. Georgie's just been killing it. He's been out there every day that he can fish. And you know what? Honestly, he'd probably be a lot higher on this list. He had some snafus with a large chain pickerel and a huge bass that he didn't get a good picture of. He's just he's in 6th place, and he's probably had the worst, photography luck of anybody in this tournament. There have been 8 records set in this tournament for the Chronic Trips. But great job. Everybody's getting out there and catching a bunch of big fish. And the largest freshwater fish and largest saltwater fish, the largest saltwater fish was just caught last week. Nelson was in North Carolina. He couldn't land a shark, but he did get a stingray. Now, just so everybody says, oh my God, he probably caught a little stingray. No, we're only measuring the bodies on stingrays. That is, believe it or not, in the rules. And he got a 26-plus inch stingray. Who is it? Is it Teddy's carp? Teddy caught that carp.
Yeah,
Teddy Forge's 33-inch carp is sitting in largest freshwater fish. And that's that. What a great tournament. There's been, out of all the participants, I think 2 people haven't put in fish. This is nuts. I am so excited to be a part of this and be directing this. This was insane and a success as a tournament. And thanks to everyone who turned in fish and participated in this. And I hope we can see you all throughout the rest of the year with the alternating Chronic Trips, Jigs and Bigs format. We're going to do the same thing where it's prizes are going to be fishing gear.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, and I mean, the polls kind of showed that that's what the people want. So we're psyched. Yeah. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And I'm delighted to go, and I'm really looking forward to going on that shopping spree once we have, I think we're probably going to hold out to like the middle of the month, maybe even the third week, and then go do it there. So that way we know how many people are entered and everything else.
Well, that's the other sticking point on this.
Oh, that's a good point.
Switch over. Yeah, I should have mentioned this too. With Fishing Chaos, there's going to be one thing we're going to require contestants to do. So if you guys look at all my pictures that I turn in, it's a great example. I know other people that fish MAKB have the same thing. When you take a picture of your fish, one of the things I'm going to be looking for is the tournament identifier. So when you register for the tournament on May 1st, when it starts, there's going to be an identifier, a 4-digit code. That 4-digit code has to be in every picture. So unlike Chronic Trips, where we're going to have, well, for now, unlike Chronic Trips, this current one, where anybody can join at any point in the month, it's not. We're going to have a closed registration. After the first, that's it.
Yeah.
You can't get into it. So we understand this might affect numbers going forward for the first one, but unfortunately, we're under the gun. A lot of things have to happen. That identifier is something that has to be in the picture. I don't care if you write it on your hand. I don't care if you write it on a stock, a note card. There are professional options out there. I currently have a, what is it called? Nate was talking about it when we interviewed him.
Yep.
Or when you interviewed. Yeah. What the hell was it? It's from Blue Fox Products, and it's a piece of decorated metal that has spots for identifiers on it. Mm-hmm. So again, we're moving forward. We're getting our folks educated on how tournament fishing, the big leagues operate.
Yep.
And, it makes sense to have it standardized across the board. Chronic Trips, if Chronic Trips flips over to Fishing Chaos 2 with the problems we have with this one, then we'll be doing the same thing. So get used to it now. It's going to be a beginner thing, but it's not that hard. Put an identifier, make sure it's visible. It's just like the fish being bumped up all the way, the mouth being closed, your hand off the tail, etc. There's rules. You got to follow them.
And even though we're, it does seem like this is, the Jigs and Bigs tournament is going to be more strict and everything else. This is still a great opportunity for somebody to get in, register at a reasonable, price to enter and compete. But also, this is a great place to kind of take that, like, boot camp almost, if you will, that training ground before you move on to like something that's KBF affiliated or, any of those other trails that you might want to jump on. This is kind of a great way to do it. And as a reminder, this is not a New England tournament. This is nationwide.
Yes.
Everybody, and it is freshwater only. So as soon as we get that pre-reg ready to go, we get the green light. And it could be, by the time you guys are hearing this, we might know at that point. But as we record this on Monday, we're pre-reg is not ready, but as soon as that is possible, you're going to know. It'll be on Instagram. It'll be on Facebook, our Facebook page, our own separate social media. We're going to be driving everybody over there to get in on this, so it's going to be awesome.
Very and like I said, we're going to do this. We're going to do the same thing with. We're going to have a list. We're going to do the point system, so there's going to be a first, second, third, right? I think we discussed that, right?
Yep.
We're going to do the increments of 100 again, correct?
Yeah, we're going to do the increments of 100.
Yeah, and I thought about the beat the Sean the Fisherman at largemouth. Mm-hmm. Why don't we put that up for a poll? If people want to beat me at largemouth, I'm fine with that.
Beat you with a largemouth?
Well, we can do that too.
Okay. All right.
There's going to be more money involved in that. That's a separate fee.
Yep.
But if there wants to be a category of top me at largemouth, there will be a single prize for that for whoever tops me by the most. Because, if we get a bunch of Southern anglers in, probably going to be a lot of people that whoop my ass at largemouth. Yeah. It takes away from the other prizes. So that'll be one single prize.
Yeah.
If we're good with that, if you're okay with putting that up for a poll, I am okay with doing it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll put the poll up later today.
Yeah, and then I would like to honestly do some sort of a prize pack for everyone who participates and turns in a fish. You got to turn in a fish. It just seems silly that people get into tournaments and don't turn fish in. I don't understand that, and I don't want to reward somebody for that. We want participation. That's what we're rewarding. So please jump in and turn in some fish if you participate. We'll get you something. We'll hook you up.
Cool. Let's go ahead, and I think we covered all of our bases.
We did.
Let's just go ahead and we will throw to break with Three Bells, and after we hear from our good friends over at Three Bells Outfitters, we've got Andrew, we've got Ken, and we've got Wild Bill from Hookset Hoodlums. That's coming up. The three of those fine gentlemen are in the beef seat for this week's interview segment.
And we thought the intro was good.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Get ready. This is a great conversation. I had a blast talking with those guys.
Yeah,
You're absolutely going to love it.
I can't wait. I mean, everybody knows I listen with everybody else, so I get excited. I'm pumped. So good. If we're taking a break, I can just go ahead and pee on my shorts because I got to do that.
Perfect.
And and we'll come back. We'll see you guys in a minute.
I love it. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. Hey everybody, Bobby Roast Beef here. It is interview time. We have just been stacking the schedule with these interviews. Really good one here. We have we had a return guest for the first time with Delirious. I guess this is our second return guest, but with company. We've got Bill Rogers with us from Hookset Hoodlums, but we also have Andrew Tomer, and we have the mysterious one himself. We've got Ken here, Mr. Underwater Robberies.
That's right. I came back and I brought my hood rat friends with me.
I like it. I like it, guys.
We're all here, boys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. So, I mentioned, before in the pre-interview that, I'd probably ask some of like the typical questions that I did, especially to Andrew and Ken, because I haven't had them on the show yet. Get some of their feedback. But the thing is, I feel like Bill's gonna have a lot to say no matter what.
No, come on.
I feel like no matter what, this is just going to end up being like a round robin anyway. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I want to do is let's start with you, Andrew. Tell me about how you discovered fishing. Like how
Andrew discovered fishing when
Yeah, how was it that it became such a passion in your life to where you're at the point now where you're, not only on social media with fishing, but you're a part of this I don't want to say organization, but part of this huge family, this continually growing family of anglers, sharing and connecting and just all kinds of crazy stuff. How do we get from the beginning to here?
Yeah, so I mean, like almost all the other guests, how they say, from the beginning, at a young age, I started fishing. Same with me. I have a lake house that I've had in the family forever. And I mean, ever since I was, spitting up in my, onesies, I was out there.
Nice.
Check your privilege, dude.
I'll stop it. Yeah, right. And then, I was up there every weekend with my uncles.
Yep.
Friday after school, he would scoop us up, and we'd stay up there all weekend and just catch up minnows, frogs, worms, and, just throwing them out there. And ever since then, it's a wrap.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just happy now that I get to, spread everything with all of our, Hookset family, followers, everything. It's huge now. I mean, we didn't expect it to be as big as it is now, as early on.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
So as we record this, yesterday is the 1 year anniversary of Jigs and Bigs.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday is the 1 year anniversary of Jigs and Bigs. And I look back at I decided to do a story where I just did a screen record on my phone, scrolling through the episodes of the show from the beginning or from the current one and kind of working back down all the way down there. And I'm like, wow, I had Bill on like in the first like half dozen of shows that we did. Like, this is crazy. And I remember that conversation about Hookset Hoodlums and what it all meant and what was this? Is this a company? Is this a movement? Is this a culture thing? Like, what is this all about? And then to see where it's gone in this next year, I could have never expected that you guys would be having this like hold on and making an impression in fishing the way that you are. I mean, we've got like Nate Shagnon making a name for himself in KBF events wearing the Underwater Robberies hat. That was amazing, yeah. and I'll say Hookset Hoodlums to other people that I'll talk to, whether it's a tackle company or something like that, and everybody's heard of Hookset Hoodlums. Everybody has heard of Hookset Hoodlums and is like, this is like, what is this all about? And as the pro staff grows or as the family gets larger and the network continues to grow from there, it's like, it's really kind of like blowing up. So I could never imagine we would be here 365 days later. Yeah, like it's
what the hell did you do? That's your fault, dude.
This is crazy, man. I'm like, it's the most humbling thing ever. Ken, what's your story? How did you find your passion for fishing and get it to the point where you're at now?
Well, it was from a young age, as Andrew said. However, I didn't grow up as privileged as Andrew. I didn't have a lake house.
Yes, he did.
These guys make me sick.
I grew up with two grandfathers, like most of us. I'm not sure what Billy's status is on that.
Jesus. Yes, I had a grandfather. Go ahead.
One of my grandfathers was Jewish and great guy. He was probably my best friend. Bought my first car. Big, greatest guy ever.
Yep.
But he taught me where to look for spare change on the ground, things like that. And then my other grandfather lived on a pond. So it started there. My uncle, my dad lived there growing up. So they were always fishing.
Nice.
So fishing growing up that way. As far as super getting into it, I will admit it was later in life. And It's probably because I'm competitive like the other two.
When you found us.
And I just want to beat them. So as far as like any second I get, I'm going to go out the door and try to get a fish bigger than Billy or bigger than Andrew.
Oh yeah.
All the time. Okay. So it doesn't, but that's where the hardcore passion came from.
That's usually what I find it is. Somewhere along the line, something happens where it just kind of like, no pun intended, but it hooks you. And then from there, it's like viral. You can't get enough, it's like, it's the one thing you want to do. I left today from getting my COVID shot, and I was like, that was a better time than I thought. I'm going to go catch a bunch of dink bass at this next to this auto body shop in Springfield. Like I've been killing it in Springfield, Mass lately. The fuck is going on here?
That's how I was earlier, actually. I was heading home I was out eastern Connecticut, and I was heading home.
Yep.
And I was looking on my map, and I was like, oh, there's a lake over here. So I pulled off the highway, and I found one. I fished it for probably like a half hour. I didn't hook up with anything. So like, I'm just going to head home.
Yep.
Well, as I was heading home, there was another lake there.
Oh,
so I pulled over, hopped out, passed, and I ended up hooking up with like 6 fish.
That's awesome.
Good ones too.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
And I haven't hooked up, all year, and then, finally, and now I'm hooked again.
That's awesome.
Hooking up all over the place.
That's it. That's it.
It's freaking crazy. Now, what I think that is amazing, and I've found it to be a parallel to fishing, is would you guys consider yourself also to be like Google Earth masters on the go? Like,
Yes.
I think that's a skill nobody talks about. You know, you're just like, here, let's find a lake. Oh, there we go. Let's go fish. Here's a pond. Here's a river. Here's a creek. You know, and you just look this stuff up, and it's crazy.
But wherever I am, it's always like I'm always on the map. Okay, so if we go over to my aunt's house, is there going to be something over there? If we go over here, is there going to be, just a half hour?
I piss my wife off constantly. Yeah. We go somewhere.
Wherever I go, I'm always on the map.
Well, I'm like, I wonder if there's fish in there. I fished a freaking retention pond at the mall. What day was it? When did I bring the dog to the groomer? That's how fucking bougie I am. I bring my dog to a groomer. I don't give my dogs baths.
Stop at the pond.
Yeah, basically, it's an excuse. And there's this retention pond that goes around, and like this is in Holyoke. I've never gotten a bite there. There is life in this little pond, but and people drive. And what I think is so funny, people drive by and they're all like, "Look at this fat fucking moron! Look at this idiot standing here." And I'm just like, zero fucks. I don't care.
Not anymore. Now they're like, is that fucking... I just saw Bobby roast beef.
Holy shit. TMZ's about to be out here. What the hell is going on? So why don't we go ahead and go through and talk about some of like our favorite setups and favorite baits. Why don't we start? We'll start with you, Bill. What are you throwing these days that's like your favorite stuff you're most confident with?
Well, right now, I so far, actually, all the fish I've caught so far this year are on jerk baits, but that's always like a cold weather thing. I'll throw them until like May.
Yep.
I'm still, if I had to pick one bait, is still that, the wild worm or a rubber worm, a Senko, just 4 or 5 inch, weightless if I can. And that's my most confident thing. That's still what I was fishing today. The water was the warmest it's been, and it still was only 56. And I'm throwing everything. I'm throwing buzz baits, throwing spinners, some swim baits, and then it's still like, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could get something going on this worm. I'm still throwing it because it's just how I feel the most confident as far as for numbers, not necessarily size, but.
Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes, like, I've had many instances where I just need to get bit. I'm like, I've been out here grinding this whole time. Let's go ahead and throw a weedless Senko, throw a weedless wild worm, something like that, weightless. Lately I've been messing with the Nico rig. I love that. I'm really down with it because I like a lot of finesse fishing. There's something about that I think is so like zen. It's just,
I agree 100%.
Something so cool about finesse fishing. But that's one that I've been messing with. And actually, I'll tell you what, the wild worm looks really good with a nice little tungsten, nail weight in it. Oh my God, it's amazing. The action is crazy.
Yeah. I just got some 5-inch ones from Damien Stretching Lines.
Oh yeah.
And dude, I haven't thrown them yet, but those look sick. They're like a 2-tone green color. And I keep it simple, but finesse for sure. That's my style for sure.
Like if I can't get them with something that's moving, I'm instantly downsizing and slowing down. That's just my first go-to. What about you, Ken? What are you most like comfortable throwing? Like your most comfortable stuff?
I'm the exact opposite of Bill.
He's a woman, and that would be the opposite.
Now he is.
I have a dad. So
the exact opposite. He was raised by 2 parents on a lake house.
I'm more like throwing a hard bait. Crankbait has always been kind of my thing. I have a ton of them. You guys would be like, oh, the bite's not good. I should switch to finesse. I'm like, let me just try a different crankbait. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
Last year, you always get better fishing with other people. And both these guys have got me into the finesse game with the soft plastics and things of that nature.
Yep.
So I gave that a go at the end of the last year. Did pretty good on it. But if I had to go right now, and always go back to this chatterbait, weedless chatterbait that I have. I just think it's versatile. I think you could throw it in something like in the weeds or the grass, You can sneak it through some timber or sticks lying there. It just seems to always come back, and once in a while it's got a fish on it for me.
Yep. Yeah, versatility is huge, man. That's like a big part of the reason why I like jigs as much as I do, because I forget who the guest was I was talking with, and it came up. They're like, do you consider a jig a finesse presentation or a power fishing presentation? And I'm like, definitely both.
I try to fish it both ways too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's really versatile. So I'll throw stuff. Sometimes I'll throw a paddle tail on a jig and I'll swim it so that way I can get that power fishing sort of vibe. If they're biting something moving, lots of times I'll do this on beds too. And then I'll hop it along the bottom too, and just, you know, use that like I would a chunk trailer or something like that, like just with a paddle tail in it, and it does the job. But what about you, Andrew?
I'm a worm guy.
Yep.
I mean, I always have been. I mean, ever since actually Hookset and we all, you know, started fishing together, I was always a worm guy.
Mm-hmm.
Always Texas rig with a weight on it. And I mean, you could, you know, fish it anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to go in the weeds, out of the weeds, in pads, I mean, doesn't matter what lake, I always seem to be in the weeds. I mean, it could be, you know, a new spot, and I'm always like, oh, that's it right there. And It's always in the weeds. It's always, you know, 3. I mean, I was laughing, but I mean, we're always in, you know, 1 to 3 to 4 feet in weeds and shit, and we're always on a worm.
Yeah, I would say if we go somewhere, like if I go somewhere in July, right? And I'm talking about like warmer. So end of June or July, and I'm fishing somewhere, and then Andrew goes the next week. I don't have to watch him. I could show you on a map exactly where he's gonna fish without ever talking to him.
Yeah. I was like last year, on that video when all of us went out.
Oh, this hot sauce video.
Hot sauce video. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
He's like, I know exactly
pond, man,
where Andrew is. Yeah, and I was. Just how it is. But, you know, ever since Hookset and kind of seeing how these guys fish also, I've been doing like a spinner, like now, and then worms, you know, in the warmer months.
Tell us about that. This is not my show, but tell us about what you caught your fish on today, because that thing looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. So Lockwood sent us a bunch of baits.
Yep.
And he sent us.
He sent us
you guys get?
Hold on a minute. He sent us a bunch of baits.
Well, yeah, 3 for. I mean, 1 for
because I got one
in a jig.
I got
in
one,
a jig,
and I know you opened it first
in a jig. So he gave me. What did he say? It's is it a
splatter bait?
Yeah. So it's like a spinner, chat bait. And this thing is orange. I mean, it's fire.
Yeah, that thing is insane.
Yeah. Yep, there it is. That's where I hooked them all up on. I thought
that was just a jig. I didn't see the blade on there.
His buddy makes them. I forget what it is, but his buddy makes them.
Yeah, but I mean, you throw it out there and you could fish it however, you know, whatever it is out there, you could, you know, make it work. And, I mean, I hammered them. It was awesome.
That's the best feeling, man.
Yeah.
Best feeling ever.
Yep.
Oh, I got to tell you guys, I had an experience. You know, I've been on that. They've been for me on that Wednesday pattern lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, his Wednesday night fish.
I felt like the biggest douchebag for this like little instance that sort of happened, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, come on. So I go to this like heavily pressured pond in a public park. Right. I go into this place and I have the 3 rods I've been using for bank fishing now that I'm loving them. And on them, basically when I arrive wherever I go, I've got a lipless crank, a rattle trap, a Bill Lewis rattle trap, a jig with either a chunk or a crawl trailer on there. And then the other one will be a Nico rig, and everything is natural. Everything. That's the first thing I'll roll up to it with any kind of a pond, natural. And I park the car and I'm getting my gear and I'm walking over to this one spot, and this guy comes over and he's got a spinning combo with whopper plopper tied on. All right.
Ooh-wee.
Okay.
Speaking our language.
Name was Billy.
This water was like probably 48 degrees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the sun this is in the afternoon. It's like
This is one of God's children. Go ahead.
It's probably about 12:30 in the afternoon, something like that. And I no, I take that back. I didn't have a rattle trap tied on at the time. What I had was a jerk bait. And I'm like, I'm going to try the jerk because I know it's cold. We'll give it a go. And the problem was it is pretty shallow. You know, it is pretty shallow in this spot. So I was getting all this like snot grass off the bottom, all jammed up in the bill.
It's bad right now, too.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, so maybe this isn't the thing. I take like 2 casts with the jerkbait. I cut that off. I tie on this one rattle trap that I've been using, and I love this color. It's got like a little foil insert right in the center, but it's clear on the bottom. So it's got some nice flash. It's just awesome. And second cast, I hook a 13-incher, pull him out, and this guy is standing there watching me. He's probably taken about like 6 or 8 casts now with his whopper plopper. He looks at me and he's like, "Son of a bitch, man, how'd you do that?" And I go, I don't know. This is what I caught him on last time. I'm like, you know, it's just basically just burning it, and killing it. And then like keep it up as high as I can, but kill it and then rip it out of the grass when it gets caught up. And he's just like, well, no shit. He has no tackle with him other than this one rod and this one whopper plopper.
It was me. It had to be me.
He took 2 more casts and he walked away. He was like, fuck this.
Your credit, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's actually, I've done good for this early on in the year, and every single fish has been either on a jerkbait or a lipless crank. I do have a Bill Lewis one, but I've been using the Sixth Sense lipless that Joe put me on from Old Glory.
I think I have that same color. Was it in your video?
Yeah, the Sour Patch or whatever it is. It's like yellow and red and blue. It's
great,
on fire. Yeah, I caught a couple with that one, but I right now it's that jerkbait, like you said, stop and go.
Yeah, you know, you just gotta find what works for your water, and you know, I mean, it's great. There was some what was it, a week ago? We had some water up here where I think Sean said he was in the kayak, and there were like icebergs going by him, like chunks that were melting, and I'm like, yeah, that's not for me, man. You know,
it's brutal.
Oh man.
Hey, I just sent a telegraph over to Cody, and Lockwood says that Addiction Baits makes the splatter bait. So, everyone's want to look at that. Addiction Baits out in Maryland.
And it's awesome.
Maryland, man. What about, so I'm going to have Jeff, I'm actually recording with Jeff Monday.
Thank God you waited. Just like when you waited with Nate and it turned out to be like an amazing episode. Well, thank God you waited with Jeff.
I can't even like claim that idea. Like Nate said, hey, let's record this after Pickwick. Like, let's record after.
His was awesome.
And it was
gosh, his was so good.
And when we started, I just hit record and there was no intro, nothing. Like we just immediately started talking, all 3 of us, and it was awesome. And we probably talked for another 30 minutes. Like some of this shit he did not want on the show. But we had such a great conversation. It was awesome. And like there were stuff that people that have known him for a while did not realize how hard he had it and the story that he had to tell. And it was intense. It was emotional. I'm like,
it was great. And he's such a genuine dude. You could listen to him talk and know that he, you know, there's no bullshit there.
Yep.
You mentioned before about him doing so well down there wearing the Hookset hat, and about the pro staff thing. The pro staff thing's, you know, to veer off a little bit, it's kind of funny because it's such a shitty term for what we have going, but it is. I mean, listen, I'm proud to call those guys pro staff, but like Delirious was like, you guys are just the homies. It's like it's whatever. I mean, we have, if we don't add anybody else, I would never even think about it again, because we have such a tight group of people now that fly like the Hookset flag.
Oh yeah.
Nate being one of them. Nate's been putting in that work for so many years. Just happens to be that he's rocking Hookset while he's down there. And like, we have such awesome people. I mean, you know, in that group message, like we're connected to like some of the best anglers in the country. And it's like, it blows my mind sometimes to think about it. Like, you know, how, but that's what it is. The community that we built up here, not just us, like the 3 of us. I mean, forget about the 3 of us. Talk about everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody plays like such an important role, like promoting each other, boosting each other, you know, sharing advice, fishing stories, bullshitting, lots of bedtime stories, you know,
eating
everything.
the bomb,
Eating the bomb hot sauce.
meeting up and just hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, look at or before these guys, we have so many guys now that are competing in tournaments and like everyone's sharing information. Oh, I've been here, try this, do this, throw this. This is working for me. I mean, it's so much more than your typical pro staff. Pro staff is like like I said, it's not the right term for what we have, but when we say family, like that's really what it has become.
That's the best term. It's like pro staff is like, for lack of a better word. But so tell me the story. Like, how did you get to the point where you made the decision? You're like, we're going to put together a pro staff. Like, where did that kind of come from? Like, you guys were selling apparel, and then the Wild Worms came out, and then slowly we started to see like this little circuit start going. So how did this all kind of formulate and come together?
I think Ken runs the Hookset IG, and I think originally we always get messages, right? Mm-hmm. We always get people that want to. Even now, like I have inbox of people that want, hey, how do I get? But it's not. It sounds arrogant, but we don't just want people just to say, "Oh, Hookset Hoodlums" and promote us. Like we want, like we said, like people that fit into the family and that promote the brand, but also we promote them and they promote us and work together, talk together. I think it started with we had JC Swag, Jordan.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was another early guest of mine.
Yeah, yep. Bud.
That was early on.
Yeah, yeah. We started early. We started like.
Rodney.
Yeah. Mitch. We started with 5.
Yep.
One was she started her own company, so it was no big deal. It's like never like hard feelings, you know what I mean? But we started with that, like see how it worked, and I mean those guys are all still around, still a huge part of like doing their thing. I mean, look at Jordan today. He's with Michael Knapfish and holding a bunch of bass, showing off and rubbing it in Ken's face because Ken hasn't caught a fish. But but I think it started off like, oh yeah, like if you want to, like we could offer you a discount code, but really like blah blah. And then it turned into like a big thing. Okay, baits and discounts and promote each other. Like forget just the brand of Hookset. Like all of us working together and promote each other. And then we've been lucky enough to where we've drawn enough interest to where we could kind of hand select who flies that Hookset flag. And like I said, if we don't add anybody else, it doesn't matter. We have a good community of anglers. I mean, all over the country. It's amazing. And
that was the thing that kind of surprised me and impressed me really right away, was that you guys had reach. You weren't just focusing in New England. I remember when Sean and I started working on the show together, and I brought him on as Sean the Fisherman, as like a presence on the show regularly. We would have conversations about ideas for content and things, and I often had to remind him that like this was global, that like people that as great as it is that, and we love fishing in Massachusetts and we love New England, and a huge amount of our audience is from here. We do reach in a lot of places. So when that first batch of Hookset fam kind of came into the mold, I love the fact that you had people from Massachusetts, Indiana, the Carolinas, California, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is absolutely amazing, and it's like, so it's the scope of what we can accomplish and who we can reach has, like, through technology, has been just a monster. So I think it says something. Definitely
through technology. To those who are listening who don't know, I mean, we were just getting started. Actually, my wife just posted something the other day and tagged Hookset on Facebook, and it's like 1 year ago today the website went live. That was like 3 days ago or something. And I went on your podcast and we hit it off, and that's what we talked about. Like we used to always say, Ken, Andrew, and I used to always say, like, it's not t-shirts, hats, and stickers. Like, I mean, that's a byproduct of what we do. This is like lifestyle and whatever. Not to sound corny or whatever, but it does. But after I did Jigs and Bigs, which at the time was like more of just like a 45 minute to an hour interview segment, and we had a good talk, and we talked about, man, this is just about building up the community and whatever, and supporting each other. And then me and you continued to talk, and then Old Glory, to his credit, to Joe's credit, I mean, and Meg, they reached out, hey, what's up with Hookset? They knew we were just up and coming. It was like a perfect storm. Jigs and Bigs was just blowing up.
Yep.
Or just starting. Hookset was just starting. Old Glory was just starting. And now, I mean, like I said, to not even have been a year.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Like, this was like a goal, like an ultimate goal. But like you always say about like, oh, Instagram 10,000. We said it. We didn't.
You never really believe
happening,
it.
You know?
Yeah. You never really believe it, and you're like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Like
But that's what we do. That's what you did, and Joe and Meg and us. Like, we work together and just continue to push forward and make it happen. And forget us, like I said. But it's grown into like so many other awesome people that we're involved with now.
So, random question: favorite chicken joint?
Go ahead.
I'll throw it on the table.
Go ahead.
I'm Popeyes all day.
I already knew you were going to say.
Yeah,
Popeyes.
I'm Popeyes all day. It's no joke.
Kenny?
I'm going to have to say probably my wife's.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's got to have a drive-through window. I think that's the caveat.
Yeah. His old house, actually, in his to credit, his old house had a drive-through window. No, God.
That's why I had to move out of there. All right, I'll send Popeyes also then.
Oh, my God.
I just don't have one. I'll be honest with you. I know it's sickening, but I never tried the bomb hot sauce either. So
we're gonna fix that.
I'm
gonna bring it so when we do the boats and scroats. Yeah. By the way,
you're gonna slather up some testicles with the bomb.
I can't wait for that.
My YouTube search history is fucked because I spent too much time today. I have messed up the Google algorithm so bad looking up recipes for Rocky Mountain oysters because I have 0.0 people who want to do this challenge and cater it for us. So what's going to end up happening is I may have to withdraw from the challenge and just be the cook.
I don't think so. Bobby's whole algorithm is Miley Cyrus songs and bull testicles.
Pretty much. That's it. Yeah. We can't stop popping these Rocky Mountain oysters. We can't. No.
Okay, so for chicken, just to go back, if we're talking wings, I'm a huge.
Wings.
Are we talking wings or not?
I'm talking fried chicken.
Okay, so I'm gonna go KFC. Because I'm a goddamn American.
Okay.
And although I rarely ever eat it. When I was in boot camp, I had Church's for the first time after that in Missouri, and that was banging Church's chicken. But I'll go KFC.
I would say I can respect some Church's.
Yeah, Church's
I can definitely. Church's and Bojangles are like
Jangles. That's the shit right there.
It's amazing.
I love that place. Yeah.
Oh, there's your place, Andrew.
Bojangles is amazing. I've only ever eaten there once. I was in South Carolina. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But I am like Popeyes till I die. Like, love it. I found a freaking reel. Have you guys mastered the reels on Instagram yet? I need some help with the reels.
I think I have because I get a lot of views on those. I don't know why or how.
I watch them for about 6 or 7 hours a day, if that's what you mean.
I get stuck on them, and they're so creative, and I'm like, that's just not me. But I saw one today that was freaking a riot, and it was a guy in a Popeyes uniform and a guy in a Chick-fil-A. And I love when people consider Chick-fil-A a chicken joint. I'm like, that's cute. Sit down.
I'm almost said it because that's the only thing I could think of.
I've never had Chick-fil-A.
Me either. I haven't either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right, but like.
My kids love it, but I never had it.
The internet loves it. That's the thing. Yeah. But I'll go on Sunday and get my Popeyes. It'll be fine.
I was going to say, people that eat chicken on Sundays don't appreciate it.
No, they don't. So, yeah. Anyway, I share this one thing.
Changes the subject quick. Go ahead. Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead.
Wait, what are the spots in the convenience stores? It's like
crunchy, crispy chicken.
Yeah,
I don't know if they have that in Mass.
Oh, yeah, they do. That's a whole thing. Yeah. My
boy.
I like those also.
My boy, this is how white trash we are around here. My boy Mike, Chatterbox Tattoo on Instagram, has he's a tattoo artist, but he has the crunchy crispy chicken tattooed on him.
No, he does not. That is amazing.
Yeah, we don't fuck around out here, Bobby.
I used to eat it in New Haven always.
Yeah,
That's actually good.
Bang. Actually, you know what?
That's
Changing my
spot.
answer.
That's my
Crunchy
spot.
crispy chicken.
You're welcome.
Urban gas station. That's my spot.
Yeah, I mean that's something that's been going along for a long time, and I've been seeing them pop up all over the place.
Oh, they're blowing up now.
Yeah,
around
they
here
are.
Anyway,
And-
so I didn't know if they were all.
And
over
now
the place.
there's like creators like YouTubers and Instagram like food pages and stuff that are like, oh, here's a recipe. It's a copycat of crispy crunchy chicken, and you're like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh,
like
shit.
it's a thing. I'm like, we eat the menus and shit like that. It's just sometimes it just gets a little weird.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So let's talk this I love, all right? This is a new question I want to try out on you guys for the first time, all right? You're probably familiar with the question that we have about the unnamed body of water with mystery conditions, one rod, one reel.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Sean and I are kidnapping you in the back of our van, right? And you're allowed to throw 3 combos, each with 1 bait tied on. Okay, it's bank fishing. It's a small pond. We have no idea what we're gonna run into. What are you gonna kind of put together for your 3 combo arsenal and a bait for each one of those to show up?
Kenny, go ahead.
Oh, dude, you're sick. I'm gonna take that chatterbait with me. That we chatterbait, the Z-Man, the bluegill colors, with some sort of trailer on that, and that'll be on a bait caster. And I usually carry one with it's like a 6 something. It's a shorter rod, but I bring that just in case I have to sneak through the branches or whatever, and I can get it out there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'll bring that one. I'll probably bring the spinning setup with a Hookset Hoodlum rattling bug.
There you go.
You know, and then for the third one, man, from the bank, probably just going to go with my favorite and do a crankbait of some sort.
Yeah.
I have a Mega Bass crankbait that I always go to, so I'm gonna put that on the bait caster. The new one I got from Old Glory Outdoors.
There you go. Nice.
I go with the Tula with the arc rod,
Oh, which one'd you get?
the kitchen sink.
Oh, dude, that's a good rod. I have that rod. That's a good rod. I the 3 I'm using now, they're all those the Cobb series.
Yeah.
And yeah, the kitchen sink is dynamite. I got the fairy wand is my new finesse spinning combo. And what did I get? It's called One More. I've been using that for basically anything with a treble hook is what I've been throwing on it. Jerk baits and cranks. And it's dynamite. They're so much more sensitive than what I was using.
Yeah, he did that trick where he put it up to his vocal cords in the store.
Yeah.
And you just started talking, and I felt like I was electrocuted. The thing was so crazy.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm like, geez.
Yeah, if you guys go to Old
Billy
Glory
had his on
Outdoors,
also, but it was upside down backwards. He's
it-
like, "Is it working?"
if you go to that was a sarcastic laugh to the
No, it
audio
wasn't.
audience. If you go to Old Glory Outdoors, Joe will put his rod up to your vocal cords.
He will. He will.
You're sick.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. I like your arc rod.
Yeah. So for
Andrew,
me,
what would you do?
I'll go with. I also purchased the Arc, but I got the. I think it's a Lancer.
Oh, yeah, those are real
Pro?
nice. Yeah.
Yep, I got that. It's a 7.1, I believe. I would use that big caster setup with part of that new splatter I got, because that thing it's awesome.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Ladder, dude.
And then my second one would probably be my 6.6 Defender rod that I absolutely love, with the lit reel on it, which is awesome. I would throw probably a worm on that one. I mean, any whatever. I don't. Yeah, wild worm. And then my third one, I would say probably my Lose Mach 2 setup with probably a squirt bill, crankbait, running from probably 1 to 4 feet. And
I love that Mach 2 reel.
Oh, me too.
So good.
Yeah.
What about you, Bill?
I'm gonna go. I have a really I'm really happy with everything I have right now. So I'm gonna go with the rigged rod.
Okay.
By a company called Favorite. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
Yep.
The rigged rod. I like the six stick that Joe just hooked me up with. He just I let him I tell Joe this is what I'm looking for. Do what you got to do, and then he'll be like, okay, go with this, and this. You know?
I'm the same.
So I trust him 100%. Again, I mean, we're riding Old Glory's nuts hard in this episode, but
I think all of us are, though.
Yeah, I mean you're crazy.
We just hit him up, yeah.
He's the best.
Rod in my throat. I mean, of course.
Yeah. Luckily, he didn't do that. I sent Ken up there I sent my little Kenny up there to get it taken care of. But yeah, the rig rod, the 6.6, and the Defender. The Defender I have as a spinning setup. I use the Mach 1 reel.
Yep.
And with that being said, I actually that Mach 1 by Lou's spinning setup is still probably my favorite. Cheap combo, inexpensive combo that you can get. Man, I never used the Mach 2. I know Andrew accused me of casting it once, but I didn't. But anyway, dude, that's a strong setup. And then for the baits, I use same thing.
Oh, how do you know it is?
Oh shit. Okay.
So you did do it.
If I'm going through the bank, I'm gonna throw same thing, 1 to 4 foot, like a crank.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go wild worm and lipless crank, another crank. Forget it. Or no, actually, you know what? The Beast Coast jig or a jig. I'm just saying Beast Coast because Lockwood just, again, that was the one thing I got in the massive amounts of baits he apparently sent. But
you said 6. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so a jig,
each of us.
a jig, a wild worm, and I said something else, I'm sure, at some point.
Square bill.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I love it. I always love to see what people what they're thinking going into fishing. That was always for me. That was always it. I come up with a plan, and I'd show up at a body of water, and it's just completely fucked. And I'm
dude, 100%.
Yeah,
that's us every single time.
Yeah, I we just put out a new video actually on our YouTube, but it was that tournament, and that tournament was brutal. It was like I said, it was 26 degrees. There was two people caught fish that whole day out of all the people competing.
Yeah.
But I even say in the video, because I went there, if you look at the one that Joel and I went out the week prior and we came up with a plan, I said, this is it. Because what happens is Andrew, Ken, and I will go out and we'll be like, okay, we're going to fish this area. And then we always go back to what we veer from the plan. So the tournament, I said, live and die by the plan.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if nothing happens. I'm sticking to this because I'll kick myself later.
Yeah.
Granted, I did stick to the plan for once, but I didn't catch any goddamn fish.
Yeah.
So might have been the wrong day to teach myself that lesson, but I'm the same way, Bobby. We all are. We go there with a plan, and it completely goes to shit.
Yeah.
Because we always end up in the weeds.
It's funny. There's and when that shit sort of happens, you start to kind of build on your skill set. I'll give you a great example. There are few things in fishing that I feel really confident in. You know what I mean? I'm always trying new things. I'm not afraid to try anything new. But when I got into fishing with bait casters, and basically every year prior to last year, bank fishing with a bait caster can be a challenge. You got to find a spot where you're able to cast.
Sure.
So I taught myself how to flip and pitch early. So that I could do that and get some distance and accuracy. And it's something that I work on. And the whole reason wasn't because I was, specific areas that I was covering. It was every area that I was trying to fish. I was like, okay, I can get in here and I can cast under this, these branches that are hanging over this one spot. I might be able to only fish this one spot from where I am, but I'll go 10 feet further down the bank and maybe find something else I can pop in, And then I think that is where I started doing that with Texas rigs, and then I think once I started to get confidence in jigs, it kind of that's when I started discovering big fish. But so there's that side of it where you have some sort of a plan and you kind of adapt to it. Grass and like you said, Andrew, getting into the weeds. that's the primary reason why I started. And it's not the standard reason, but that's primarily why I started fishing a drop shot. So I could figure out what those weeds were, and I started rigging it in a way so it wouldn't get hung up, but my bait wouldn't be at the bottom of the grass. My bait would be up higher, up above it, and I could pop it up and get a little bit more like that vertical fishing, you know?
Yeah.
And that really came from being on a kayak.
Oh, you could fish from, you particularly, you fish from like even from the bank and throw drop shots sometimes, which I literally just realized right now when you said that, why you do that, because you could throw something weedless. You could throw a spinner, you could throw a weedless jig rigged up like that.
Yep.
But the problem is that weight, as it drags through those weeds, it's still picking up weeds. You're just not getting on the hook. You're still going to get wrapped up in weeds. So actually, I agree with you 100%.
You know, it's a whole lot easier when you get in a kayak. I wish it would have worked for me for the bomb challenge, because that was a big reason why I had the drop shot tied on. I saw all that grass and I was like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna drop all the way down, bring it up a little bit. We'll get some bites. Bullshit. I got one pickerel on that BBZ rat, and that was it.
That was probably the most fun I had fishing.
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
with the group, with people anyway. I mean, by far, that was awesome. That was so fun.
Good time.
Yeah, it was good shit.
Ken said good time. Yeah.
I love it, man. Oh, freaking hell.
And it only ended in pain anyway, brother.
Oh, I saw.
Yeah, for all of us. And we won.
It was bad. Like, there was a point where I was on Route 2 in Norwich, and I was like, I'm pulling over. This is going to be bad. Yeah. And I'm walking around and sweating bullets, and I'm like, what? I eat this stuff all the time. What the hell is going on? And I was like, yeah, this could be it. And then I got back in the car, and I like just grit my teeth and drove all the way back up to Mass. Like, holy shit. And then everything was fine.
Well, you and Joel touched upon it. I don't know if it's the altitude or the hills. I don't know, man. That ride back to the entrance ramp of that highway, this is kind of gross now, but
that's your reason though, because the hills on the highway.
I was gonna say my stomach turned to the point where I didn't think I was gonna vomit, but my mouth filled with like water. You know, like before you puke,
right before you do.
Like you're about like, oh, like I started getting like spit, oh, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta pull over. I'm gonna puke in the war wagon, and like, all of a sudden I see Joel pulling up off the highway with me. Thank God, because the only real friend I have. It's like, you okay? And then I think he left anyway. So fuck him. But
he didn't even get out. He was like rolling down the window. You all right?
You okay? He just threw his beard out the window for me real quick.
I was gonna say, I forget who it was, but there was one like tough guy who was like, "This is not bad. Give me another one." Who was that?
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
And then the altitude hit you hard, bro.
Yeah, that was me. You go. Were you going for another one? I'm like, yeah, they're not that bad, because I like spicy stuff.
Yeah.
But the problem is
the hills.
the altitude.
It's the KitchenAid effect. It's the mixing. It's it was rough. So I do need to apologize. I was under the belief that this was a 100% natural hot sauce, that there was no capsaicin extract in here. I was wrong.
I got to tell you, it's a good hot sauce.
It was really wonderful. Good. I think it's great, but it hurts so bad.
Well, I think it was you. Was it you or maybe somebody else told me after they put like a little bit like in a pot of chili? Like, that's probably delicious.
It's wonderful. You know. Yeah, it goes a long way. Pouring it onto tortilla chips at a boat launch parking lot.
Not ideal.
Hey, Delirious acted like it was no big deal too. He's like, that was nothing. And then
but he was missing for like a half hour. He was hiding.
He's like gagging.
But that mask went on right away. Yeah. Who knows what was going on under there? He could have been like freaking dry heaving. Who knows?
Yeah, good luck puking in a mask, you weirdo. Then you got to sit with that. You got to live with that, Delirious.
Oh, that dude is awesome, man. He's the best. He's like one of the most
Delirious
genuine
and I are
human beings.
We're fishing a tournament together. I'm jumping on his little boat, and we're going to fish one in a couple weeks up in maybe Mass or right by the border.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Delirious the best.
His boat is great. Like, it's ideal. Like, it is a good setup. He did really, really well with that boat.
Hey, watch the video that we just put out, and it's in the middle of a tournament. I'm miserable. I'm frozen. I literally have, I think, frostbite on my hands.
Yep.
And this asshole drives by me on that boat playing pirate music, casting in front of me.
Sounds
like it's
about
all
right.
fun and games, Delirious. You bastard.
Yeah.
I love him. He's the best.
Yeah, when I heard about that tournament and the turnout, I was just like, "This is crazy," you know. And then I talked to Sean, and he's like, "Well, you know, I got a limit, and I got the lunker for pick roll." And I was like,
"Dude,
of course."
I called Sean because I always pick his brain anyway. You know, plus we just like I call you, we just always just bullshit and talk fishing or whatever. And I called Sean. I said, "Hey, this is what I'm fishing." Blah, blah, blah. He tells me where he would go, which I felt a little more confident about because it was the same things I was thinking. And I told him this is what I would do. This is what I would do. He's like, "Yeah, I would go here first, whatever." And I called him after, and I wanted to I didn't want him to do bad, but I didn't want him to tell me he caught like 11 fish.
Exactly.
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever, Sean. Oh, by the way, that 3-rod bank fishing, I would also wear my life jacket just because I know Sean was the one that kidnapped me as well, and I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So
you'd be ready for it.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever seen Damien's boat?
Yeah.
I got a good story about Damien's boat and that pond where that tournament was. So
that pond sucks.
First time I had gotten a chance to fish with Becca. She and Todd came down and brought her boat down, and Damien and I went out on his boat. And there was this moment where I was like, and I had met Damien at this point like 2 or 3 times, you know, nothing like that. Like we'd fished before and, you know, done some bank fishing and stuff. And he's a good dude. And I'm like, this is a lot of dude to put on this boat.
A little boat.
This is a lot of dude, and I am the bulk of that. Like I am, it's me, you know. So he goes, and I'm like, knowing that I should probably stay seated to give myself a lower center of gravity to keep things as stable as possible. He has the seat in the back. I didn't move at all. There was this moment where we're fishing along this weed edge, and I had, I think I was fishing a weightless Senko, and I had hooked up with some dink, and I'm like, all right, skunk's on the boat, we're good, let's keep going. And we're working this one area, trying to track down and break it down if we can find any more fish. And there's a spot where he turns around, and he does this, in my perspective, totally in slow motion. He's like, whoa! His foot comes up and his other foot goes back, and he catches himself. And I'm like, and I had this moment where I was like,
oh, shit.
If he goes in, he's fucked. He's fucked, man. I'm like, Jesus, what are we gonna do? He caught himself, and I was like, that was the closest thing I've ever seen. Second thing about that fucking that trip that was crazy. We go and we're fishing. There's a couple of bridges that go over in this one area. Apparently one of them is very difficult to pass under, like really, really low. Mm-hmm. The other one's not so bad, but he and I on that little boat, crouched down, hiding down, going under this bridge. Yeah, we went under the fucking spot.
Oh my God.
I think we got a couple of bites over there, but nothing crazy. Becca that day caught the smallest fish I
remember
ever seen caught on a jig. It was a whole lot of fun, and like fishing with Todd is always great. Like it's freaking
awesome.
He's the best.
By the way, your episode of Fishing for Answers with him was absolutely dynamite.
Yeah,
like super entertaining, so good.
That's why we had to end the show. We're gonna get in trouble soon.
I hear it.
Yeah. The Hoodlums got canceled.
I freaking love it, man.
Todd's the man.
He is.
He as soon as we were done, actually, that I didn't have the upgrade on the thing. So as soon as we were done with that episode, I like kind of abruptly ended. I don't know if it's how noticeable it is, but I'm like, oh, all right, check out that. As soon as we were done, he messaged me. He's like, that was awesome. We all have to get together and fish this year. So I mean, you already know, like that'll be another shit show.
You know, one of the things I kind of would like to work on is organizing a charter on his on the boat that he works on. You know, God, I know they do trophy tog. And I'm not sure, like, I'm thinking, like, get the families together and, like, you know, everybody, because my wife was even like, if you're going to do, like, deep sea fishing or something, I'll go and do that. That'd be great. And I'm like, it's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I could push my wife off the edge. That'd be cool.
You know, I didn't see anything.
She'll never listen.
Yep.
She'll never listen. Joel will send it to her, though. They were out fishing. They were fishing for cod off that thing today. I think Todd got his PB or something like that. Becca was on there with him. Yeah, it's just more of the same. Just that's kind of like, you know, just always having fun, having a blast out here doing it. So
name of the game. That's what it's all about.
100%.
Well, guys, why don't we do this? Why don't you all jump in and tell me a little bit promote yourselves individually, your own Instagram and everything, and tell me like what you have coming up for Hookset, you know, in this that you can talk about right now, and let the people know what's up.
At hookset.hoodlums on Instagram. Obviously, I'm Wild Bill Fishing on Instagram. Hooksethoodlums.com. I don't know when this episode will air, so I'll just say we got a whole bunch of clothes dropping for 2021 line. We're phasing out some of the older stuff. We are re-upping the classic shirts and those Vice shirts. But hooksethoodlums.com, new hats, new shirts, long sleeve shirts, some accessories all coming out. They might already be out by the time this comes out. The Rattling Bug, the Wild Worms, Dreamer Worms all being restocked. Those are like $5 a pack. We keep it very, very low. Stickers, we'll throw a bunch of those in there in your order. Go ahead, just let us know. Subscribe to the newsletter. Subscribe to the Hookset Hoodlums YouTube, which that's where a lot of these challenges are going to be. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to be eating some. Well, I'm not going to, but a lot of these guys are going to be eating some bull testicles on YouTube. Most likely, the other 3 people on this show will be eating bull testicles. Delirious is definitely going to OD on them. And because that's how we get down. So Hookset Hoodlums on YouTube, hooksethoodlums.com, at hookset.hoodlums on Instagram for all of your fishing apparel needs. Stretch and Lines also got to shout out Stretch and Lines for soft plastics. He's actually the one that I've been working with on finalizing these Rattling Bugs. That's what's taking so long. We're running them through the ringer to make sure that they are of the best quality, which Damien's the man. So that's all I got. That was a lot, but that's what I got.
Yeah.
That's easy to follow up. Why don't we just go with that?
Right. Yeah. Shout out your Instagrams at least.
Yeah, good idea.
At Underwater Robberies. I post on it daily. A lot of my big fish are on there.
His last post was Halloween in 1990.
Hey, hopefully this summer I can get back on there, but I just try to work on the other one. But I'll get back on there at some point. You know, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Hookset Hoodlums. You know, I'm not about promoting myself, just Hookset. And you know,
imagine making me say all that.
This is going to be our year this year.
Drive-through window for
oh my God, you guys!
That's what I love about you guys.
At reeling.in.life on OnlyFans and Grindr. And farmersonly.com.
Thank you, Rodney. Shout out Rodney.
Definitely Rodney.
He hooked me up on that.
Farmers only.
Yeah.
Oh.
By the way, when I said R&R Outdoors before, I was talking about Rod. He brought his dad Rodney onto the team, but Rod, shout out Rod. That's our youngest hoodlum.
Absolutely. OG youngest hoodlum.
Yes, sir.
I love it, man. No, this is good stuff. You guys are awesome. I'm super excited for what we've got to come. I think this is going to be this is going to be a killer year.
Oh, yeah.
I will
definitely
say
for all of us.
Yeah. The bull testicle recipes I did find have rave reviews. The description is like it's like a slightly overcooked chicken nugget.
Yeah, you guys to eat them.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So when Andrew eats this bull testicle, will you say, "Oh, honey, it was a lot like your chicken"? She's not gonna listen, is she?
No, I mean, no.
Joel will send it to her.
Yeah, he'll send it to Erica, and then Erica's going to send it over.
I've checked our analytics.
Did you hear these guys?
We have a 4% share of our audience that are women. She does not listen to this.
No.
You don't have to worry about it.
My wife, who her best friend is Joel's wife, I'm like, hey, when we did Fishing for Answers, I'm like, because, like same thing you said, you had him on the show. Joel's not a very talkative person. So it's funny to get him on these things because he's a very straight-laced dude. I mean, he's an animal, but like in this scenario, he's not a very like open, talkative person. That's why it took him so long to even come on Jigs and Bigs. Yeah. But I said to Erica, I said, hey, did you watch? Did you check out the episode with Joel Fishing for Answers? Now she knows Joel. She's known him forever.
Yep.
Best friends with his wife, and I am her goddamn husband. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I'm not watching it. Thanks for your support. Can't wait to take you on Todd's charter. This is Sparta, baby.
This is Sparta, baby. Oh, God.
And then she's like, oh, but Andrew had a nice shirt on.
All right.
Oh,
thanks
God.
for listening to Jugs and Bugs. We're out.
I love it. Awesome, guys. Well, you have a good one. We'll be in touch. You guys fishing this weekend at all?
Yes, I am in the morning.
Nice. Very nice.
Take the kids out. Bobby, you're a huge part of all of this, Bobby. You, like, without your not just your platform, but the constant like promotion, like I mean, you talk about us all the time. I know we're friends and stuff like that, but we do truly appreciate it because at the end of the day, there's still like a whole other aspect of it, and we definitely appreciate your support, and you're the man, and we love the show. Obviously, everybody does. It's blowing up, and we're so happy for you. You're the man.
That means the world to me, man. You guys are awesome. You've always been huge supporters, and like we love you. You guys are just great dudes.
Same.
Awesome. Well, you guys have yourself a good night. Get on some fish. I'm going to try and do the same.
All right, brother.
All right, guys.
Sure. Thank you,
Thanks,
man.
Bobby.
Have a good one.
All right, brother. You too.
Wow, guys, this has been an amazing show. This is probably going to go down in the record books for one of the longest episodes of Jigs and Bigs, but we have had so much amazing info to share with you guys that it had to be done. Plus, that interview with Hookset Hoodlums crew was awesome. It was a long time coming. I had a great time talking with those dudes. They're all hilarious, and we're going to have ourselves a good time. In fact, Sean and I, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, Sean and I are out fishing right now with Wild Bill. That's what we're doing right now. And then we're going to be gorging on duck quesadillas because that has to happen.
Gorging.
Yeah. Yep. Like pre-spawn bass.
Maybe today's playout song should be the duck quesadillas.
Could be. Very well
could be.
The
duck quesadillas song. The general public outside of trivia has not heard the duck quesadillas song in a while.
It's true.
Just saying.
It's true.
It's single in fucking Germany.
It is. Well, it's because of the bursting nipples. Let's be honest.
Yes.
I brought it back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Good stuff. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it, guys. Like we said before the interview portion of the show, info coming very soon on the May tournament for Jigs and Bigs. A little bit of a shakeup with the platform, but we're getting it handled, and we'll have info for you guys to go ahead and sign up ASAP. So keep in mind, you do have to be signed up before it goes live on the 1st, and we'll play it by ear. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, guys. So month-long tournament, it's going to happen. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. New store for Jigs and Bigs merch available at jigsandbigs.com. That'll be happening in May. We'll give you guys the shout when all that is live, but it's on its way. New stuff, new designs, performance gear, you name it. We've got good stuff. Very, very excited. So we got that lined up. We got a whole bunch of stuff. We're just going to wrap things up kind of early. Sean, do you have anything you want to throw in here before we wrap it?
Dude, we covered. Oh, I do. I have one last thing.
Oh, okay. Perfect. What do you got, buddy?
Today's Monday. Happy birthday to my friend and fellow fisherman, Ari Stonehill. I met Ari through MAKB, through the knockout tournament years ago.
Yep.
And I talk with Ari every now and again, just bullshit, see how things are going. He's also a fellow deadhead. So we talk dead sometimes. Sometimes we talk fishing. We've actually worked, we even had a bit of a collaboration or attempted collaboration professionally a couple years ago. So happy birthday, Ari. Can't wait to see you on the water or at a Dead concert where we get to watch John Mayer play Dead songs wearing pajamas, because he does that.
It's a thing.
He does that. Yeah.
Well, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
All good.
Good
All
stuff,
good.
guys. Hey, have yourselves a great week, everybody. Remember, you don't know when that next big fish is going to bite. Trust me, I did not. I had no idea. So keep those lines wet. Keep that bait in the water as long as possible.
And keep your shorts dry.
Keep the lines wet. Keep your shorts dry. I think we got a brand new T-shirt slogan coming out. That is fantastic. Oh, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you, each and every one of you. I mean, all of our Instagram followers, all of our jig heads, those are our followers over on Patreon. They get this feed so that they can see the production, essentially, of how it all kind of goes down. They get their first crack at each and every episode of Jigs and Bigs right off the bat and get to engage with us. So if you're interested in that, go visit jigsandbigs.com. Become a patron, become a jig head, and we'll see you there. Big shout out to all of our partners and supporters. Of course, Hookset Hoodlums fam, the whole family is constantly growing, and we appreciate and love you guys. Of course, Old Glory Outdoors for everything that they've done, all the support that they've given us, amazing. And by the way, Joe, very, very kind words in that post. Did you see the post they put up with the picture of me with the fish?
I did. That was awesome.
Unbelievable, man. I was like, wow, that is unbelievable. And of course, Three Bells Outfitters, which if you haven't heard, I will be rocking a new kayak, and I get to go on quite the little adventure and try out some boats to figure out what's going to be happening. So excited for that. Excited to get the new trailer up and running. We got all kinds of great stuff lined up for you guys. We got more fishing to do. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of it. We appreciate you way more than you realize. See you back in a week. Take good care of yourselves. Have a good time. And of course, as always, tight line.